don't care if you Mobb Deep. I hold triggers the crew. You little I got money stacks bigger than you. When I was pushing weight back in 88, you was a ballerina. I got the picture, I seen you.
Hip-hop was built on competition, and some of the greatest moments in rap history came from heated rivalries. One of the most talked about feuds of the early 2000s was the clash between Jay-Z and Mobb Deep, two giants of New York hip-hop who represented very different sides of the culture. From subliminal shots to direct disses, and from street credibility to lyrical dominance. This beef was more than just rap. It was about pride, power, and respect. In this video, we'll break down the history, the diss tracks, and the lasting impact of the Jay-Z vs Mobb Deep feud. It all started in the mid-90s, in the middle of the East Coast-West Coast war. Mobb Deep had dropped their classic album The Infamous in 1995 and was dominating the New York underground scene when they involved themselves in the Coastal War and beef between Bad Boy Records on the East Coast and Death Row Records on the West Coast. Prodigy and Havoc from Mobb Deep felt like they had to defend their coast after taking offense to the music video of the song New York, New York by the Dogg Pound, a rap group that was signed to Death Row Records on the West Coast. And now they're disrespecting New York by kicking down their buildings in the video. So in response, Mobb Deep dropped the diss track LA LA, signaling to the West Coast that the East Coast ain't soft, that they're standing strong and are ready for war. Things escalated when the Dogg Pound's label mate Tupac got involved, dissing all the major rappers on the East Coast, including Mobb Deep, on the song Hit 'Em Up, which came out in June '96. So Mobb Deep was getting ready to battle him to defend their coast, recording the diss track Drop a Gem on him to make sure that the East Coast doesn't lose the war. Jay-Z made his debut right around that time with Reasonable Doubt. On the song The Evils, he actually sampled a line from Prodigy, which he rapped on LL Cool J's I Shot Ya remix a year prior.
Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep their eye on me.
Jay wasn't one of the major players in the game yet, but Tupac still dissed him, and Jay never responded. Prodigy from Mobb Deep actually liked him as an MC even back then, and they would occasionally meet at clubs together with Biggie, who was signed to Bad Boy Records and seen as the King of New York. Prodigy saw Jay as Biggie's little sidekick, but they still had mutual respect for each other. Even though H.N.I.C got dissed by Tupac, they didn't really want to get involved in the beef. So Prodigy was basically forced to step up and defend New York, cause Pac was going at everybody and no one really dared to strike back. But then Pac gets killed on September 13th, 1996, and a couple months later, on March 9th, 1997, the face of the East Coast, the King of New York, the Notorious B.I.G. gets killed as well. So the two faces of hip-hop were taken out of the game and the throne was empty. Jay wasn't the huge icon he is today. Mobb Deep, on the other hand, was way more respected, especially on the East Coast, for holding down New York during the Coastal War. They also had 3 albums released at the time, 2 of which were classics, The Infamous and Hell on Earth. But now in 97 and 98, they were taking a back seat, while people like Jay-Z and Nas tried to follow Biggie's footsteps and fill his shoes, competing for the King of New York title. Jay would drop an album every year and get more and more successful, earning respect from the game step by step. Reasonable Doubt in '96 was far from a commercial success. He wasn't on Prodigy's level at the time, as far as respect in the game and impact. Then after Big died, he released the album In My Lifetime Volume 1 in '97, dropping songs like The City Is Mine, claiming that New York belongs to him now that Biggie has passed, which Prodigy and Nas of course laughed off in the beginning. They underestimated him, thinking that he's megalomaniacal, but they would quickly change their minds on him after seeing Jay's growth because step by step he was becoming a major threat to them. Nas was technically the highest selling rapper in New York at the time, but Jay was catching up. Something that Prodigy didn't notice yet was a sneak diss on the song Where I'm From off the Volume 1 album, which contains lines against Mobb Deep.
Jay had a line in that song. I'm from the place where you and your little mans hung out in every verse in your rhymes.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your mans hung in every verse in your rhyme.
You and your mans hung in every verse in your rhyme.
I'm from where you and your man sung in every verse in your rhyme. This is directed at Prodigy and Havoc, and the place he's talking about is Marcy Houses, where Jay is from, calling out rappers who mention Marcy in their lyrics. Prodigy had mentioned it 2 years prior on the classic Infamous album, on the song Tru Life, on which he rapped about getting a call from a girl from Brooklyn he used to mess with but left in tears. And she's now trying to set him up to get him killed by Brooklyn goons. So Prodigy made his escape through Marcy, and they failed to harm him.
The only person in the history of rap music who talked about Marcy projects in a verse was yours truly, me, on the infamous song Tru Life. I rhymed. Every angle of the car was smoked out and tinted, so we couldn't tell if the enemy was in it. It might have been TNT. I wasn't trying to wait and see. We jetted through Marcy, cause D's ain't backing me.
Jetted through Marcy, cause D's ain't backing me. Worse, son, they got us on the run, son.
I'm from the other side where other guys don't walk too much.
Jetted through Marcy, cause D's ain't backing me.
I'm from where the beef is inevitable, sometimes unforgettable.
Jay was definitely talking about me.
Havoc then rapped a verse from the opposite perspective. The girl was now from Queens, and the guy from a different neighborhood. But he still decided to pay her a visit in Queens. Havoc then robs and kills him, and the song came off as Queens being more dangerous than Brooklyn. It was rumored that Jay supposedly took offense to it, even though it was just a bunch of made-up stories that don't even mean anything. And he inserted himself into the story as one of the guys from Brooklyn, saying, I'm from where you and your mans hung in every verse in your rhyme, with all his people behind him in the music video, just like Prodigy in the video for Shook Ones. So it was almost like a side-by-side comparison. Prodigy's neighborhood versus Jay-Z's neighborhood. Jay also purposefully wore a red football jersey, just like Prodigy did in Shook Ones. And that wasn't even Jay's style. He was never grimy like that. His videos were always him on big boats, champagne bottles, him on top of buildings, driving luxury cars, chilling at the Bahamas with the ladies, but definitely not in the streets with everyone from the neighborhood behind him. That was more the style of Mobb Deep and Nas, and Jay copied it to show them that he can do their styles better than them. So Prodigy was confused when he saw the video. Not only did it seem like Jay is biting him, but also at the same time he's taking jabs at him.
I ain't peep it back then when that song came out, Marcy song first came out. But down the line, when I'm in the studio talking with Nas around that time, I started peeping it. I was like, oh, he talking about me in that song, yo. And he did our little bitch with the plastic cups in the hood. Because before that, Jay, if you do the knowledge and you do the homework and you do the research and history of it, Jay-Z was on some speedboat in the Bahamas, Versace type of issue. Then Shook Ones came out. Then Jay came with the plastic cups, football jerseys, in the projects, take a little jazz in the round. I'm like, oh shit.
P didn't really notice it until about a year later in '98, when Jay dropped more subliminal lines on the next album, Volume 2 Hard Knock Life. Cause on the '98 hit single Money Cash Hoes with DMX, Jay said, "It's like New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feelings."
What's the dealings, huh? It's like New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feeling.
New York has been soft ever since Snoop crushed the buildings. Referencing the New York music video in which the West Coast rapper Snoop Dogg poses as a Godzilla-like creature stomping around and destroying buildings in New York. Jay is basically criticizing New York for being soft and not responding properly to the disrespect from the West Coast. dismissing all the efforts from people like Prodigy from Mobb Deep, who were holding down New York and shooting back with diss tracks, while everyone else was tucking tails. Prodigy found out about it while chatting with his fans on his website. He was one of the first rappers to have a webpage and would communicate with his fans directly. They were the ones telling him about all these jabs. On the January 2002 issue of the Source magazine, Prodigy broke down how it all started. I be on my website a lot responding to my fans. Then one night this kid got at me about the ish Jay-Z said on Money Cash House. How he is restoring the feeling because New York got soft since Snoop crushed the buildings. The kid was talking about how we got at them with LA and drop a gem on them. While Jay-Z and all of them was quiet when Cats was ishing on them out west. Then I was like, you're right. He acting like New York didn't represent, or like we ain't represent that ish for real.
You trying to restore feeling. It gets 3 years later, and now you say you want to say something? You ain't say nothing when it was war with these things. Like, you would have went to Cali, and we could have got bodied in Cali. Some Cali niggas ain't playing, son. You know what I'm saying? Like, them niggas is gang, son. They do their body shit, murder every day, son. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, just because of the color you got on. And they don't give a fuck about you, nigga. Like, straight up. And this is the shit we dealing with. When LA come out, we in Cali performing that shit. It was the #1 record on the radio in LA. Our song, LA, going back at Snoop and them, was #1 on the radio in LA. We had to go to Cali to perform that shit. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't say, nah, we ain't fucking with Cali. You niggas gonna kill us. Nah, we had to go and do our job, son. Years later, he trying to restore the feeling. Like, what feeling you trying to restore? What are you talking about, son? Like, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? And why are you talking? Like, shut the fuck up, son. You should have said something a long time ago. Like, really, son, shut the fuck up. Me and Fat Joe was in Loud one day, and I even heard Fat Joe say it. And I ain't even come out and say nothing. I'm just chilling in the office, and Fat Joe came out and said, yo, this motherfucker Jay-Z talking about he trying to restore the feeling. I looked at Fat Joe, I said, word, y'all feel the same way, son. And I was like, word, so I feel you on that, son. And then he was like, yo, that nigga's a funny nigga for saying that. Who are you talking about? I'm like, word, you're funny. Fuck that nigga, yo. He wasn't even around when that shit happened, you know what I mean? Biggie was going after it, and Mobb Deep was going after it, and them niggas, and they was going at Nas, they was going at Jay, they was going at Mobb Deep, they was going at Biggie, you know what I'm saying? And them niggas was quietly in church mouth, son. You know what I'm saying? It was quiet, like a motherfucker, son. Wasn't going to Cali doing no shows. Wasn't doing no response records. It was just quiet, trying to act like I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So I took it personally when he came out and said that.
In an interview with Complex in 2011, Prodigy spoke on Jay-Z's song Money Cash House again. They were kicking over our buildings and stomping through our city. That was some disrespectful-ish. Automatically, I was like, I'm going to make a song calling right back out to them. We are going to hold down New York. That's why we took offense when Jay-Z came out years later. After everything died down and people lost their lives, he came out with that song Money Cash House, where he had that line, it's like New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. We took offense to that, like, how you talking now? We was out there risking our lives. This ish was on and popping and we were still out there doing shows. This dude wasn't around. He had nothing to say at that time. That was kind of crazy that you just came out of nowhere talking about some ish that you weren't nowhere around for. Talking about you bringing back the feeling. We took offense. So we said something about it. That's how that whole ish sparked with him. He should have just shut the F up and minded his business. We went after him after that. Like, I effing hit you in the head. I took it upon myself like, you know what? This effing BS N-word popping ish about some ish that he wasn't even around. And his name was involved. Tupac was going at him. His name was all in that. And he didn't have nothing to say at that time. Jay-Z was scared of them Death Row people. That's why he ain't say nothing. If you're going to wait until after the guy is dead to start popping ish, that's kind of corny. Jay-Z actually heard Pac's disses even before he passed in September '96. That's why he was preparing diss tracks against him. but he never publicly responded, even though Pac was going off the whole time.
Jay was quieter than the church mouse when the Snoop and Pac, Mobb Deep and Biggie drama was on fire. Jay was nowhere around when all that shit with Pac was popping off. But that's how it was in rap. Niggas always going at each other, saying slick shit in their rhymes. If you said something slick, I caught it. And best believe I came right back at you.
Jay-Z's Volume 2 Hard Knock Life sold over 6 million copies in the US, outselling both Nas and Mobb Deep, and becoming part of the mainstream, while the Mob was still underground and hadn't gone platinum yet. Now all of a sudden Jay became a problem. Everyone in the industry had an issue with him. Not only Nas and Prodigy, but also people like Fat Joe and Big Pun. They would all talk bad about him while hanging out. Nas and Mobb Deep were still working on their albums, fearing that they're going to get left behind by Jay and the new generation of rappers, like DMX and Big Pun for example. And they couldn't let that happen. The game expected them to come back even stronger after that coastal war with the #1 rapper in the game in '96. So they were taking their time as the expectations were super high for them. All while Jay used this opportunity, this lack of leadership in hip-hop, after the deaths of two icons to get himself on top. Big and Pac's passing definitely made it easier for him to blow up, winning multiple awards and decorating his wall with plaques, all while sneak dissing Mobb Deep. So Prodigy tried to return the favor by shooting back subliminally on the next Mobb Deep album, Murda Muzik, which came out a year later on August 17th, 1999. There is a possibility that they called it Murda Muzik to get Jay-Z's attention, cause Jay was part of a rap group called Murda Inc. with DMX and Ja Rule, who were all platinum artists taking over the rap game in Mobb Deep's absence. Prodigy also hated Ja Rule when he first came out, always making fun of him for looking gay, cause sometimes he would perform wearing weird outfits with his nipples out, walking around half naked in a room full of men. He and his homies always made fun of him when they were on tour, calling him the gay version of Tupac. The label he was signed to was also called Murda Inc. His most iconic ad-lib is "It's Murder." Ja Rule, DMX and Jay were supposed to be the new faces of hip-hop. So maybe Prodigy was trying to throw jabs at them, calling the album Murda Muzik when Murda Inc. was the hottest new thing in hip-hop. But it could also just be a coincidence. What we do know is that he had to remake the album because of leaks. That's why they had to postpone the release of the album, allowing Prodigy to add more disses to the project. But the most notable ones were on the lead single Quiet Storm, which came out on March 14th, 1999, only featuring verses by Prodigy, since his partner Havoc and the rapper Big Noit, who were originally planned to be on it, left the studio to meet some girls and wasted the opportunity to be on it, coming back to Prodigy having finished the song within 3 hours, cause he was so excited after hearing the beat that he stayed in the studio to write rhymes to it, ignoring the girls who wanted to spend time with him. He was the only one on the team who wanted to battle Jay-Z badly. Havoc didn't really care about him that much, but he kinda got dragged into it, since you couldn't tell Prodigy what to rap about.
I put my lifetime in between the paper's lines. I'm the quiet storm who fight rhyme.
I put my lifetime in between the paper's lines.
Starting off with the keywords "my lifetime", possibly referencing Jay-Z's second studio album In My Lifetime Volume 1, in which Jay had that line against the mob about them mentioning Marcy in every verse in their rhyme.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You with your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
You with your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
Prodigy then references a song from that album called Streets Is Watching, by foreshadowing a rap battle and firing warning shots at Jay.
We the streets just watching, boy, move diligent. You better walk like the tightrope do.
We the streets just watching, boy, move diligent.
The streets is watching, blocks keep clocking, waiting for you to break, make your first mistake.
Then he calls out Jay for using the word "dumb" on the remix of the song Money Cash Hoes, also called More Money, More Cash, More Hoes, which came out in February that year. So on Money Cash shows, Jay is taking shots at Mobb Deep for quote-unquote being soft. And then in the remix, he uses Prodigy's slang.
Roll with my guns.
Roll with my gun.
Cold with the you slow with my ones. Hit the flow when I come.
Use it slower, trying to speak the done language. What the drilly with that though? It ain't banging.
Trying to speak the done language. What the drilly with that though?
Calling him a dick blower. Making fun of his voluptuous lips, just like Nas and Cameron did later on their Jay-Z diss tracks. Cause everyone was making fun of it, saying that his lips are bigger than the ones of women. This was obviously done to emasculate the opponent. Most of the time, that's the main goal during a battle. To convince the audience that your opponent is a bitch and not a real man.
Use it slower, trying to speak the done language. What the drilly with that though? It ain't banging.
Calling out Jay for using the done language, which was Prodigy's own slang, derived from a friend's speech impediment that made him say done instead of son. Same for the word thun, which was later used as an alternative for his friend's speech impediment.
Queensbridge had his own way of doing things. This kid Bumpy started it, and I dubbed it the dun language. For example, instead of calling each other son, we said dun. Bumpy had a speech impediment that made him talk like that naturally, but we all turned it into our hood slang.
Roll with my guns.
You hooked on Phonics, infamous Bonics, lying to the pop dog like you got it.
Accusing Jay of not only biting him, but also studying him, and then later trying to apply it to his own life, even though he's using the language incorrectly, and has no clue what he's rapping about. Basically calling him a faker.
You try to stop moms from growing, I make your blood stop. Take affirmative action to any ass if he asking. Now here come the Mac.
Anyone who dares to slow down P's rapping career will get killed in an instant. He said something similar on the song I'm Going Out.
You running while I'm gunning, cause you're a I heard talking like they going dead mines. I got enough guns, we can make the headline.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
I'm from a place where the realest get murdered, and the illest try to avoid it.
He indirectly addresses Jay again on the song What's Your Poison?
Y'all talk a lot of shit, heard you on the tape frontin', I fakes nothing.
Heard you on the tape frontin', I fakes nothing. F around and push the wrong button.
Around and push the wrong button, I dedicate my days to seeing you drip blood.
Basically daring Jay to continue with his sneak disses, so that he can get the response he asked for, while telling him that the difference between them is that P is not a faker, that he keeps it real and ain't just playing a role to sell records, unlike Jay.
Don't be a statistic, keep your rhymes to yourself, we make fools out of.
I was fucking with man to get some Marcy, man to get some Sumner, man to get some Tompkins. That's where I be at, you know what I'm saying? Before all that Jay-Z shit, you know what I'm saying? These man I went to school with, you know what I'm saying?
Peace to my Sumner villains in pink houses from Red Hook to QB, y'all know the routine.
I knew most of the shooters and live wires from Jay-Z's hood and the other two projects near Marcy, Tompkins and Sumner, so I already knew who Jay-Z would run to. That's my advantage over him. That's how I knew he didn't live what he rapped, but Jay didn't realize I had those connections.
I'm from where the beef is inevitable, summertime's unforgettable.
Every summer in the projects, we partied on the benches. Bring the fever, yeah, this is the rap justice. While we was gone for a moment, y'all kept the crowd going now. Move over, break a time for some media.
On Illustrious, Prodigy raps about all the new rappers that came to the forefront while the mob was gone for 3 years. And now those same exact rappers are trying to battle them. Who could he have possibly been talking about?
This week, your best song is mediocre. How dare you entertain the thought that you can come out to challenge me in blood talk?
The guy that's challenging him to a rap battle supposedly doesn't have any top-tier songs on the level of Mobb Deep's best tracks, like Shook Ones, Survival of the Fittest, and Quiet Storm. You could say that Jay-Z's Dead Presidents more or less was on that level. But aside from that, many people felt like Jay-Z's best songs from Reasonable Doubt up until Volume 2 weren't really worth being anywhere near a top 20 all-time hip-hop songs list. For some Mobb Deep tracks, on the other hand, you could make an argument. There weren't too many rappers who were quote-unquote challenging Prodigy back then either. So it's not unlikely that this was aimed at Jay as well.
I count on one thing, all y'all rap that excite me. Y'all dig into trash rap. Wanna fight me, shook to death. Take breaths and step lightly.
Then we have the song Where You From, which kinda sounds like a response to Jay's track Where I'm From, in which he had those lines against Mobb Deep, to which Prodigy took offense to.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
So Prodigy responded in verse 2 saying,
Hey yo, blood rap, survival of the fist out cat. I push it down, blow around at your baseball hat.
I push it down, blow around at your baseball hat.
Jay-Z is one of the major reasons for the high sales of the New York Yankees baseball hats. At the time, it was part of his brand, almost like Tupac and his bandana. One of the first things that come to mind when thinking of Pac is his bandana. And it's the same for Jay-Z and his Yankee hat. He even rapped about it years later on the song Empire State of Mind.
Catch me at the X with OG at a Yankee game. That made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee king.
Since the beginning of his career, Hov has proudly worn a Yankees cap to show support for his favorite baseball team. And his influence has rubbed off on the general public. Now Prodigy is taking aim at it.
I push it down, blow around at your baseball hat. I take it on the one route where clowns pulled out, copped out, popping they little heads out they hole, sticking their chests out, acting like they in control.
Next song is called Murda Muzik. Prodigy starts off verse 1 by saying that he's been on the battlefield since day one, taking the Murder One route. And now all of a sudden all these rappers are popping their little heads out of their hole, sticking their chest out like a champion and acting like they're in control of the game, now that the dust has settled. Even though, unlike Prodigy, they weren't around for the war, the East Coast-West Coast War, in which he battled people like Pac, Snoop, and the Dog Pound, while people like Jay were hiding in their little holes, and then years later they made snarky comments when the war was over, talking down from their high horses as if they were relevant back then.
What Dylan? It's like New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feeling.
I take it on the one route where clowns pulled out, copped out, popping they little heads out they hole, sticking their chests out, acting like they in control.
Prodigy then drops a hint on who he's talking about, referencing the song Can I Live by Jay-Z.
Well, hold up, I've been doing this since we was kids, and all you up, gotta ask if you could live.
Can I live?
Well, hold up, I've been doing this since we was kids, and all you up, gotta ask if you could live.
Saying that Jay was ducking smoke and basically begging for mercy when people like Tupac dissed him during the East Coast-West Coast War, staying quiet as a church mouse while Pac was going at him, but then years later bragging about restoring the feeling.
Your project is on out there, you need to quit and let us rap that for them. Your raps ain't
taking a jab at Jay-Z's neighborhood Marcy projects, in response to the lines about Mobb Deep rapping about his hood in every verse in their rhymes.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
Your project is on out there, you need to quit and let us rap that for them. Your raps ain't
He's trying to flip what Jay-Z said. The people from Marcy are the ones that can't stop talking about them, not the other way around. Cause Jay made it seem like his neighborhood is so special that rappers can't keep it out of their mouths.
Your background's incorrect, your song puts no effect on the people. Don't try to play my part, don't try to say my words that I lived and survived.
Saying that Jay-Z faked his whole life story about him being this serious drug dealer, calling him an actor that bit their style, and is now using their words to sound hard.
Splash that half-fat trash you drop, you get chopped in half. Your little rap ain't last long. My shit came out and you got escorted to the door.
Jay wasn't always making hardcore gangster music about shooting guns and running New York. His music sounded way different in the beginning of his career, before he quote-unquote started studying Mobb Deep.
Got some nerve. Be careful at night. You might bump into a true to life. Like P. Get beat over your head with handles.
We put you on the life, taught you how to drink right and how to speak like a guy living street life, how to chase down liquor with more liquor. Basically saying that they laid down the blueprint for Jay-Z's success and taught him everything he's rapping about. Calling him a student, basically.
You're just a fucking clown here to entertain us all. I bring the gravity down, you're gonna fall.
Havoc then references the incident where Jay-Z slept with Nas's baby mother Carmen, which he later bragged about in songs like Is That Your Chick, The Takeover, and Super Ugly. Mobb Deep and Nas were on the same team back then. That's why Jay later mentioned Nas as well, on the same diss track he had against Mobb Deep.
And all them shit that you hitting, we done ran through that. Plus system, that's why they can't stand our rap.
And then we get to the song It's Mine. This one doesn't feature any jabs at Jay, but the single came with a music video that features a whole different set of locations than you would expect from someone like Nas or Mobb Deep. Usually their music videos are made in the hood with all their homies behind them. That's what they claim Jay stole from them. But this time it seems like they're mimicking Jay, doing what Jay was doing early on in his career, where he's chilling at a villa on some island, relaxing at a pool with dozens of girls wearing bikinis, drinking alcohol, looking like a wealthy mob boss, enjoying life. That was the overall theme in the music videos for In My Lifetime in 1995 and Feeling It in 1996, before changing his style and starting to shoot videos in the hood, with all his people in the back like Mobb Deep and Shook ones. At least that's what Prodigy always complained about. Now they're using Jay-Z's blueprint to give him a taste of his own medicine. Cause Jay was trying to show Nas and Mobb Deep that he can easily replicate their styles. And this video was supposed to show Jay that Mobb Deep can replicate his style as well. Jay then noticed what Mobb Deep was doing and accepted the challenge. Cause what did he do afterwards? He dropped a song called Big Pimpin' that same year, which came with the Volume 3 Life and Times of Sean Carter album, on December 28, 1999. The video came out a couple months later in April 2000, featuring the exact same elements from Mobb Deep's video. The girls at the pool, the parties, the flashy and glamorous lifestyle, drinking, celebrating, and they made it even bigger and flashier than the It's Mine video. The song itself was also way more successful, going triple platinum, while Mobb Deep didn't receive any certifications. The album Murda Muzik, however, went platinum within 2 months, while Volume 3 went triple platinum after a month and a half. On that project there's also a song called Come and Get Me, on which Jay invites those who hate on him to try to come and get him. He also made a slick comment about Prodigy. I'm a crook like you, I took like you, I disobeyed the law throughout the book like you.
How dare you look at Jigga like I'm shook like who? I keep the bit with me, then come and get me.
Shook like who? Referencing Mobb Deep's iconic song Shook Ones, while also doubling down on the whole New York's been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings narrative. He was initially implying that Prodigy from Mobb Deep didn't respond properly and made New York look weak. But now he's saying that Prodigy was shook, too scared to respond. And it might seem that way because Prodigy actually pulled the Tupac diss track off the radio after he passed, cause the song Drop a Gem on Him came out around that time, and he wanted to show respect to Tupac's family. He also didn't have a verse on the LALA response record aimed at Snoop and the Dog Pound, so Jay was trying to make it seem like Prodigy ducked the smoke. The same thing that Prodigy accused Jay of, cause again, Jay didn't officially respond to Pac's disses, and Prodigy was calling Jay fake.
Your background's incorrect, your song puts no effect on the people. Don't try to play my part, don't try to say my words that I lived and survived.
I'm a crook like you, I took like you, I disobeyed the law throughout the book like you. How dare you look at Jigga like I'm shook like who?
People started envying Jay because of his success, cause he started outselling Mobb Deep and Nas, holding the game in a chokehold, while talking down on his enemies subliminally, as if they're beneath him, and not worthy of being called out by name, not making it publicly known that he's going at them, treating the subliminal disses as side notes scattered around in his lyrics, while making it seem like he doesn't care about anything but making money, enjoying his success and reign at the top, while making fun of those who doubted him. Cause people like Nas refused to make songs with him or appear in his music videos, even though they were invited. And Jay was holding a grudge, wanted to teach them a lesson now that he's successful. Prodigy then tried to go solo, knowing that he's more popular than Havoc. assuming that there's a possibility that he might have even more success alone, thinking that Havoc might actually be holding him back. He wanted to be on the level of J and Nas, but Havoc was taking way too long to create beats. That's why he let multiple producers work on a solo album, getting the best beats from multiple people. At the time, Havoc was also a little lazy, partying too much. Prodigy was in work mode and really wanted to take Jay's spot, because people always told him that he's up there with Nas, and Nas ranked himself above Jay-Z. But P didn't really have those numbers to back those claims. It seemed like they were getting left behind, so he had to reinvent himself. Plus he was getting into arguments with Havoc, because during the transition phase from Hell on Earth to Murda Muzik, they bought a 5-bedroom mini mansion in Freeport, Long Island together, using the money they earned from the past projects. They built a studio in the basement and lived together. But Havoc basically ruined it by always inviting his homies over to sleep, and they would turn the place into a mess. Prodigy got into multiple fights with the people Havoc invited, and Havoc would just pick the side of his guests. He told him that if he doesn't kick out those people that he'll leave. Havoc said he wouldn't, and P just left. So back then there was definitely friction between them. That's also why you didn't really see Havoc get involved in the beef. So P tried to do his own thing by going solo, moving into a $500 a month duplex apartment in Bushwick, Brooklyn. He moved back in the hood basically, even though he was the partial owner of the mini mansion. Like mentioned earlier, Prodigy had a website and forum where he was active every day. His page was kinda like a blog, where he would give daily updates on what he's been up to. And he would answer fan questions as well. He would always talk reckless, dissing the whole industry, including his partner Havoc, since they were in the middle of an argument. But he would especially hate on Jay, calling him Gay Z, and telling people what his problem with him is. He also wrote a script for a movie called Murda Muzik, and also tried to start a new clothing line, uncertain if the group Mobb Deep will survive the argument, cause Havoc and Prodigy weren't seeing eye to eye back then. Then he also started working on the movie soundtrack to Murda Muzik, for which he invited multiple rappers from Queensbridge, trying to give them some shine. Nas at the time was working on an album called QB's Finest. QB initially stood for Queensborough. He wanted to get all the Queens legends on it, but when he heard about what Prodigy was doing with Murda Muzik, he supposedly changed plans and changed the QB from Queensborough to Queensbridge, because he didn't want P to be the first to get all the new artists from QB together, since Nas saw himself as the king of Queensbridge. So he had to be the first to pull it off. He then booked studio sessions in the room right next to Prodigy in Soundtrack Studios, even though he would usually record in the Hit Factory. They were in the middle of writing their verses for the song The Bridge 2001, when Prodigy started talking crap about Jay-Z to Nas.
Nas and I kicked it for a few hours for the first time, talking about the rap game. I told him that I thought Jay-Z was taking shots at Mobb Deep. Jay wasn't shooting videos in the projects until he saw your video Halftime and our Shook Ones and Survival of the Fittest videos, I pointed out to Nas. The projects ain't even Jay's style. He was on some speedboat, Versace, champagne party in the Bahamas getting the tan type ish. Before his success, I had seen Jay at different functions over the years, but mostly at Club Esso, where he threw Cristal parties. Biggie used to come through too. I knew Jay's style because I watched him come up. And now Jay was copying our style. Plus, Jay and his little rap protege, Memphis Bleak, were dissing Nas on songs without saying Nas's name.
Talking about the song My Mind Right, which came out on March 5th, 2000.
Your lifestyle's written, so who you supposed to be? Play your position.
So I said, yo, Nas, what we need to do is go at this nigga. Because number one, he got his little man trying to listen on you, talking about how your life is written and all this shit. That's when Memphis Bleak trying to take little jabs and Nas. I was like, yo, son, these niggas is going at us. Like, subliminally, like, taking little jabs. Like, fuck that, son. We need to go at them, nigga. Let's make a song about them, son. He like, nah. Light up. He like, nah, nigga, that ain't nobody be doing that, son. He ain't nobody be doing that. I'm like, son, I'm telling you, son. It won't be a problem, son. We need to address it now. He like, nah. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm addressing it on my own anyway. I don't give a fuck what this kid do. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Nas, but fuck, I'm going to handle this. You know what I'm saying? You bugging. So during all this time, I'm going at Jay-Z. I started writing songs. And then I started being like, because I told Nas, I said that shit, just talking about New York, been soft ever since Luke came through, crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feeling. So I told Nas, he's like, nah, ain't nobody, ain't gonna diss him, man. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm dissing my own.
Nas didn't see what I saw. I knew exactly what Jay was doing, taking cheap shots on the low. Fuck that. Jay wanted to take indirect shots. It was my turn to shoot directly at him.
So he started writing disses for his solo album H.N.I.C, most notably for the song Keep It Thoro, which got released on August 29th, 2000. It was on the documentary soundtrack Backstage, which got released on the label Def Jam, DJ Clue's Desert Storm, and ironically on Jay's label Roc-A-Fella. Jay was actually one of the executive producers of the album, so he most likely heard the song with all the subliminal disses on it, and still decided to put it out. Prodigy actually got in touch with DJ Clue, and purposefully gave him that song as a strategic move to piss off Jay-Z. Clue didn't know what was going on and would have never accepted the song if he knew what Prodigy had planned, cause he and Jay were actually cool and were doing the soundtrack together. Now, some people think that Jay allowed Clue to put it on the album on purpose, to show Prodigy that he's completely unbothered and doesn't even take him seriously. Because why would you release an album on which people are dissing you? And why would you give them a platform? It's like you're opening doors and building bridges for your enemies, so that they can strike you harder. Even if it was Clue's idea to add him to the project, Jay could have easily said no. No, you're not adding a song where I'm getting dissed. This is my label. Or maybe he didn't register that the song is about him and that Prodigy is coming for him. Especially in verse 2, where he says, this was a direct response to Jay's single Do It Again from the album Volume 3, released in 1999.
Any given time's 100 G's in your grill. Don't talk to me about them C's got skills. He's alright, but he's not real.
He's using the same exact words as him. Jay was talking about rappers who are on his heel, meaning rappers who are coming after him.
Let's go. You gonna talk about them C's on our hill, and we just cock them things, homie, the chromey wheels. Both arms are chunky, the sleeves on chill.
He then continues by saying that the person that's coming after him may have skills, but that's irrelevant, since he's not real, calling Prodigy fake. And he would later elaborate on it on his diss track Takeover.
Any given time's 100 G's in your grill. Don't talk to me about them C's got skills. He's alright, but he's not real.
P then flipped it and said that while people like Jay talk about nonsense like the price of their grill, he doesn't F around and is the most real.
I gave birth to your whole style and feel. How do it feel to hold my in public? Duplicate rap cloner.
Then he accuses Jay of biting his style. He was well known to harbor disdain for rappers that he felt were unoriginal, with their image, style, flow and delivery, claiming that he gave birth to Jay's style, using the video for Where I'm From as an example for him copying the image.
Let's me and you do it live on stage for Dolo. I smash it like you smash by the dope, show and prove.
Suggesting to face each other on stage, settling it either with words or with fists. Because Jay started playing this gangsta tough guy role and then seemingly called out Prodigy for being quote-unquote not real, an accusation they both threw at each other. So Prodigy tells him to come and find out if he's real or if he's just playing a role. In the video, he wore a red jersey, just like Jay in Where I'm From, which again might have been inspired by Prodigy wearing a red jersey in the Shook Ones video. Once again, all the homies and people from the neighborhood in the background, and on top of all that, he also added a Bentley. just like Jay had on his album cover Hard Knock Life Volume 2, on which he had those lines to which Prodigy took offense to. The Bentley was closely associated with Jay's brand, just like the Yankee cap. It was his favorite car to drive, showcasing his wealth and life of luxury. He would take care of his whole crew and buy them all Bentleys, pull up to shows and events with 9 Bentleys back to back, while looking down on rappers who weren't as successful and rich as him. It all became a contest for record sales, money, and material things. Everyone would show off their ice, jewelry, their women, their cars, mansions, and everything associated with wealth and success. Prodigy wasn't known for that. He was the grimy underground street rapper trying to go multi-platinum. But all the multi-platinum artists were showing off, and Pete tried to adapt. This whole time, Jay tried to show him that he can do what Prodigy does. And now Prodigy is trying to show Jay that he can flex and show off Bentleys in videos just like him. But the car was added mainly to drop a hint on who he's talking about. The first rapper that came to mind back then when thinking of Bentleys was Jay. Even 50 Cent mentioned it when he dissed him on How to Rob.
What you get just sold like 4 milli, got something to live for. Don't wanna go get putting fold through that Bentley coupe dope.
You rats that make me laugh, got crazy ass, and I don't give a so trash.
Prodigy was well known to openly state his feelings of disdain about commercial rappers like Jay, as well as albums that sold millions. Jay was selling more in the first week alone than Prodigy was selling in a year. Some people even used it as an argument to discredit him, saying that Prodigy can never be on Jay's level, even though P felt like he was closer to the throne of the King of New York than Jay, since he has been relevant for longer. And just like Biggie was one of the few rappers to hold down New York during the East Coast-West Coast War. Jay didn't really take offense to the disses from Prodigy until autumn 2000, when he spoke about the lines on Money Care shows in the October issue of the Source magazine, shortly after commenting on him in an online interview.
The Source put me on the cover, my first magazine cover as a solo artist. In the interview, the writer, Shaheem Reed, asked about my problem with Jay-Z, referencing an online interview in which they asked if I liked Jay-Z. No, he's a shit boy. He talking and don't live it, I said. I elaborated for the Source. Jay-Z has a quote in his song, Money Cash Hoes, where he claims, New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feelings. But Jay was nowhere to be found when that drama popped off between Mobb Deep, Dogg Pound, Tupac, and Biggie. That was our little personal beef, not a coastal war. Jay-Z ain't had this to say when it was on, and he was getting dissed. Him and Nas. Mobb Deep and Biggie were the only ones from New York active in that situation. So Jay-Z is a best for making that quote in his lyrics. Yeah, it was on now.
In the interview, he said, Jay, if you're reading this, don't talk ish after everything dies down. Homie, when the war was on, you was quite like a B-word. I'm a fan of Don, but where was he when this ish went down? Don't speak now.
Calls started coming in from industry folks when I arrived back in New York. Jay-Z is upset because of what you said about him. I was like, and? Am I supposed to give a fuck about him? I didn't call him a shit boy to make him happy. I did it to provoke him to start dissing me. And I said it because it's the truth. The whole rap world was talking about me calling Jay-Z a shit. Radio, magazines, websites, and all. It was only a matter of time before Shit Boy came back at me with something. And that was exactly what I wanted.
This was around the time Jay's 5th album, The Dynasty, Rock La Familia, dropped. 2 weeks later, on November 14th, 2000, Prodigy's solo album, H.N.I.C, came out with even more jabs at Jay. On the song Rock That Ish, for example.
What's that outfit you rep I never heard of? Smash out chickens like insects you bug. Out.
Jay started his own clothing line and fashion brand Roc-A-Fella a year prior to the release of the song, meaning in 1999. And Prodigy is making fun of the outfits he's repping, saying that he never heard of that brand. This was shortly after Prodigy gave up on his fashion brand Infamy, which he wanted to bring out in 1999. It was inspired by Wu-Tang's Wu-Wear and Russell Simmons' Fat Farm. He opened a store to sell his clothes, but quickly closed it down after a month. cause he wanted to focus on his music career and the movie Murda Muzik. Jay-Z's Roc-A-Fella, on the other hand, took off and made him over $240 million.
You must got too much alcohol in your system.
Next song is titled What You Rap, which starts off with Prodigy dedicating a few words to Jay, sarcastically asking, "Is it real?" after Jay supposedly questioned Prodigy's realness.
Is it real? Really?
He's alright, but he's not real.
Why do people on the grill? I don't round done it, the smoke's real.
He's alright, but he's not real.
Is it real? Really?
Then he once again calls Jay a dick blower. Cause again, Prodigy and Nas used to joke about Jay-Z's quote-unquote dick-sucking lips.
Spit on the cat, what?
Oh, dick blower.
Oh, y'all haters, no dick.
Use a dick blower, trying to speak the done language. I gave birth to your whole style and fail. How do it feel to hold my in public? Duplicate rap cloner.
In verse 1, Prodigy takes numerous subliminal jabs at Jay, which sound like direct responses to Jay's tracks from the album Volume 3.
Let's go. You gonna talk about MCs on our hill.
Supposedly, it's coming close to me.
Don't talk to me about MCs got skills.
Trash raps again can't fuck with the exalted, affluent lifestyle.
Then he references one of his songs from the album H.N.I.C Live Volume 2, called Money Ain't a Thing. Prodigy flips the original chorus into a threat aimed at Jay.
Live in the flesh, my again fresh out the bang. When I see you done, new guns, money ain't a thing.
I'm in the hell with the price, but the money ain't a
Put
thing.
it down hard for my dogs that's locked in the bing. When you hit the bricks, new whip, money ain't a thing.
Live in the flesh, my again fresh out the bang. When I see you done, new guns, money ain't a thing.
Then he speaks to Nas, asking him what Jay just said, referencing their conversation where Prodigy pointed out how Jay and his team are sneak dissing them, like Memphis Bleek on My Mind Right, for example, breaking down all the lines so that Nas understands.
Your lifestyle's written, so who you supposed to be? Play your position. Hey yo, Nas, off that nigga just say.
We should put Jay on blast in our verses for biting our style and taking subliminal shots at us, I told Nas. Nah, off him, Nas said. He ain't nobody to be dissing. Alright, cool, I replied. I'm gonna deal with him on my own.
Prodigy then asks his homie Big Noyd to pass him the knife, so that he can show Jay how it really goes down in the hood. Cause Jay had stabbed Lance Rivera at a club in December 99, and people on the streets started to respect him for that, thinking that he lives what he raps. But at the same time, he was accusing Prodigy of not being real, so he wanted to show him.
Hey yo, Noyd, tell Manny P to pass me the shank. I think it's time to take him to the hood, let's play.
Then on the song Can't Complain, Prodigy is hashing over the developments of the industry feuds.
Debating on the latest rhyme wars, where units don't count, but your rap page add up to large amounts.
His form of combat doesn't use sales as a weapon. It's strictly about clever rhymes and skills.
Get my thrills, putting oven against scales to sleep.
Any given time's 100 G's in your grill. Don't talk to me about MCs got skills.
Get my thrills, putting oven against scales to sleep. Why do people on the grill? I don't round done it, the smoke's real.
The last song on the album that contains disses is called Do It. A year ago, Jay released a single called Do It Again.
He's alright, but he's not real.
And now Prodigy is dropping a song with a similar title where he makes fun of the quality of Jay-Z's music.
You get spanked coming up in my this shit. I run this shit pop like them white boys on MTV. This sound weak when it's played after me.
His album Volume 3 was criticized for not being up to par with his previous albums. It was his worst album out of the 4 he released by the time Prodigy recorded the song.
Me and Had be the best nigga to ever do it. What you think is just music? We lit this shit.
P felt like the Murda Muzik album, despite its relatively low sales compared to Jay's albums, is sonically superior.
There is no competition, I'm the #1 album of 2000, cause your this suck.
He recorded this verse before Jay released the Dynasty album on October 31st, 2000. But he knew that Jay's plan was to drop an album every year. So Prodigy wanted to compete with that. Drop an album every year just like Jay-Z, and show him that Mobb Deep makes better music. Releasing H.N.I.C directly after the Dynasty album was strategically planned, in hopes that rap fans can compare them and see which album is better. That's why it came out 2 weeks after Jay's album. with Prodigy saying that his album is superior, which is true, at least sonically. But Jay-Z sold more in a week than Prodigy did in an entire year. He was baiting Jay into responding so that they can have a back and forth, thinking that he's lyrically superior.
If y'all niggas wanna get that paid, do it. You got problems, you want it with me? Come on.
On November 21st, Nas' compilation album QB's Finest came out and included a track called The Bridge 2001 with Mobb Deep on it. This was the song they recorded together when Prodigy told him about how Jay was biting them. Nas actually took a shot at Jay on this, using what Prodigy told him during the studio session.
Jay wasn't shooting videos in the projects until he saw your video Halftime and our Shook Ones and Survival of the Fittest videos, I pointed out to Nas.
Now tell me, who was the true thugs in videos first? Who had the project behind us? Who bid it the worst?
Things got heated on January 12, 2001, when Jay and his Roc-A-Fella camp went on Hot 97 with Funkmaster Flex, kicking a couple of freestyles. They not only rapped on the beat of Mobb Deep's Quiet Storm, on which P dissed Jay, but Beanie Sigel later on a different beat said some lines that really upset Prodigy, cause he and a couple of his friends, including E Moneybags, were listening to the radio and got curious how Jay and his crew would perform.
Jay-Z went on Funkmaster Flex's Hot 97 radio show, freestyling with his new recruits, Beanie Sigel, Young Guns, and Freeway. Bars and Hooks, Green Eyes, E Money Bags, Majesty and I were at the Music Palace studio. Jay's boys sounded real good, until I heard Beanie take an indirect shot at Mobb Deep. Something about, I creep on your quiet storm.
Squad Mobb Deep and we creeping on a quiet storm. Give up your goods or sleep on a quiet storm.
What upset him even more was that Jay had a man up there called H. Moneybags, which Prodigy and his friend E Moneybags took as disrespect, because E and Jay actually knew each other. They went to high school together, and by this point E had already an issue with him, cause Prodigy told him about how Jay is sneak dissing him, and that's why P felt like he had to respond.
Bags told me that y'all went to high school with Jay-Z. I'm like, what? Bags said, I'm from Sumner. I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here, yo. You from Brooklyn? He's like, man, Jay went to high school, man. Come on, man. He's like, well, he used to talk hell. And he's like, yo, man, he was like, Sauce Money's married to my sister. I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here, son. I'm like, well, he's like, man, off that nigga Jay-Z. That nigga's a bitch ass nigga, son. I know that nigga, man. So I'm like, well, that nigga said some bullshit, man. I had to speak up on it. He was like, nah, you right, son. You ain't wrong for speaking up on it.
And now they're hearing on the radio how Jay and his camp are dissing him.
All of a sudden I hear Beanie say, I creep on you like a quiet storm. I'm like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to go at us just now. So I'm listening closer now. So now then he has a nigga named H. Money Bags up there rapping. All right, H. Money Bags. So now I go in the studio. So yo, E, come outside real quick. So E come outside. I'm like, let's do this. So E like, what did he just say? H. Money Bags. Like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, yo, son, you been biting your name, son? He's like, oh, I told you I knew that nigga from high school, son. That nigga know me. He know E Money Bags. My name was E Money Bags like this, son. This nigga biting my name, son. I was like, son, you know what? You just started this Mobb Deep now. He's like, what? I said, come on, let's go inside and call out 97. So we went inside the studio. We call out 97.
Yo, this is Prodigy, I said. Let me speak to Jay-Z. Jay just got on the elevator and left. You just missed him. The person on the phone said. Go catch him and tell him Prodigy on the phone. Okay, I'm gonna try. Hold on. 5 minutes later, Jay got on the phone. What's up? Jay said. Yeah, what up, Higgin? I said. Hold on, somebody wanna talk to you. Bags was asking for the phone, so I handed it over. Yo, what's up? It's E Money Bags. How you got some dude up there using my name? You know me, Higgin. Who the fuck is H Money Bags? So, what are you trying to say? Jay asked. What am I trying to say? You know what the fuck time it is with me, Higgin. Don't try to act like you don't know how I rock. Bags said. This is what you called me for? Jay replied. Oh, now you acting tough, Bags said. You tough now? You know I'm gonna see you now, right? Say no more then, Jay said. Say no more? Alright, so when I see you, you know what it is. Say no more, Jay said.
E Moneybags died 6 months after this incident. I spoke about it in my video The Truth Behind the 50 Cent Shooting. Make sure to check it out. But yeah, now it was on. Jay-Z made up his mind to diss Prodigy. Everyone on his team kept gassing him up, telling him that he needs to respond and end his career.
Rap is competitive, you know, it's a competitive sport. Each time I went out, I put my career on the line as well, you know, like that, you know, it could have happened to me, you know,
heard Prodigy.
and everybody wanted it to happen, like,
Yep.
They did. It was a time where it was like, please let this guy go away.
A week later, on January 19th, Prodigy called Funkmaster Flex and asked if he, E-Moneybags, rapper Noriega, and Nas could come to the H.N.I.C radio station that night and do a freestyle session, just like Jay and his team a week prior. They wanted to counterattack. Flex agreed, but then Nas backed out while Prodigy and E-Moneybags were on their way to the station. When they arrived, Flex told them that the show is cancelled because they think it's gonna cause some beef.
We wanted revenge. Flex agreed. Bags called Nas so he can come with us, and Nas said he would. While we were on our way to the station, we called Flex, and he put us live on the air. As we crossed the 59th Street Bridge, Nas emailed Bags, backing out. Nori met us in front of the station, and we linked with Flex in the lobby. Thanks for coming up, but my boss just called and told me to cancel the show, Flex said. I can't let y'all up, because they think it's going to cause some beef. No matter what we said, Flex kept saying that he can't do it or he'd get in trouble.
So he used a different method to counterattack, by dropping a freestyle called When You See Me, which was on the doo-wop mixtape Gangsta's Paradise. The beat he used was from Tupac's Hail Mary, which was on the same album that Pac dissed Jay on, Machiavelli the Don Killuminati 7-Day Theory.
They don't want to talk about that. Yeah, it's for the world to hear, you hear me? They don't want to talk about P right here, man. H.N.I.C, man, head in charge. Infamous Mobb Deep. Against these clowns, man. Straight up, man. You know how we do it. Off your whole ass, whole ass, infamous freck, yeah. Bars and hooks, motherfucker, you, cash. Yo, let's do it, come on. Yo, we got y'all sized up, so what y'all gonna do? Cause sooner or later we gon' bump heads with you. And when that time come, we gon' pound out your crew. Cristal bottle your face, break you over taste of this gangsta shit.
Cristal bottle to your face is a reference to a rumor that the rapper Big Pun hit Jay-Z on the head with a champagne bottle back in '98. I covered this incident in my Jay-Z vs. Big Pun documentary. Make sure to check it out.
You ain't score points stabbing that fat come at this mob gun or E-bags or Madge, what? Oh, y'all on with P, not a goddamn thing, hammers and bang, done. We specialize in colliding with this. We all up in the spot, all up in the events. We been selling records back when you was sucking Nas dick to get a verse on your first album. I was in Sumner, testing my guns, cause back in Queens we was handling drama. I don't give a fuck about how much drugs you sold, and I could give a fuck about how much funds you hold. Let's talk about what's gonna be when you see me. Matter of fact, no more talking, bring it when you see me, bitch. Stayed up. What, man?
On March 20th, 2001, the album Game Over 2 came out and featured a song called Mob N-Word, dissing Jay-Z directly by calling out his label.
I pledge allegiance to my infamous flag. The niggas get tagged and bagged for coming at my familiar. This ain't the rock again. We ain't them big ass niggas.
Then on June 28th, Jay performed at the H.N.I.C Summer Jam 2001 and took the beef to the next level, starting off by going on a little rant about certain people in the music industry and how they're going to get the response they've been begging for on the upcoming Blueprint album, which was planned to be released on September 25th, before deciding to drop the album 2 weeks earlier.
I got a lot of shit for y'all tonight, so I'm gonna try to take my mouth the whole time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit going on in rap music and shit. You know, a lot of cats, you know, yapping and shit. Y'all know what the fuck I do, you know what I'm saying? The boy have his rhythm. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there, you know what I'm saying? Twin, I see you, what's up? Everybody on top of that building, make some motherfucking noise. I got the new album Blueprint coming out September 25th, where I just sang with my mom business. This is one of the songs right here. Put it at me, yeah. Let me get it, Bob.
Then he starts rapping the first two verses of a previously unheard diss record called Takeover, going at Prodigy from Mobb Deep. The song hadn't even been completed yet. He would record a whole nother verse going at Nas a couple weeks later.
The takeover, the break's over, nigga. God MC, me, Jehovah. Hey, little soldier, you ain't ready for war. ROC too strong for y'all. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Pick to a test. Your chest in a line of fire with your thin ass vest. You bringing the boys to men. How the boys gonna win? This is grown man B.I. Get you rolling the triage, biatch.
You need triage, I need to get up out of here.
Get you rolling the triage, biatch.
Telling his enemies that they're not ready for war against Team Roc-A-Fella, cause they're too strong. The matchup ain't even fair. Just like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Getting shot and killed before your knife can even reach your enemy.
You reach ain't long enough, Dunny.
I don't round, Dunny.
You reach ain't long enough, Dunny. Your peeps ain't strong enough. Roc-A-Fella is the army. Better get the Navy. Keep that your Navy. Spit at your lady.
Not only making fun of Prodigy's heights, but also using his slang term, Dunny, which again means son, basically sunning Prodigy with his own words.
We ready like the fist fight, kill your drama. We kill your mom, ass with a sledgehammer. Don't make me do it to you, Dunny, cause I overdo it. So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
Telling him that the beef can get serious if he wants to. Not just a lyrical exchange of words in music, but a real-life confrontation and fight if he really wants to take it there. All the gun and knife bars, threats of him killing his enemies with a sledgehammer, Jay is really trying to show him that he means it. Cause on the song Do It, Prodigy dissed him by saying,
What you think is just music? We lit it.
all while accusing Jay of being a studio gangster. And now Jay is throwing it right back at Prodigy, telling him he won't confuse the beef with just rap music.
Don't make me do it to you, Dunny, cause I overdo it. So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
What you think is just music? We lit it.
So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
What you think is just music? We lit it.
The second verse was performed a cappella in a slow pace, so that the audience pays close attention to what he's saying, cause that verse goes directly at Prodigy, while the first could be interpreted as a warning shot to his competition, without dropping any names. But yeah, in the second verse he's directly calling him out, mocking Prodigy's small stature, dismissing Mobb Deep as competition in the hip-hop industry. I will break down the verse later on in the video, but the most memorable part of the performance was when he said, "When I was pushing weight back in '88, you was a ballerina, I got the pictures, I seen ya." Pointing up to the screens, which were showing pictures of Prodigy as a kid dressed as Michael Jackson. Everyone in the crowd was shocked when they saw it, cause Mobb Deep was always the face of New York hardcore gangster and thug music.
I don't care if you Mobb Deep. I hold triggers the crew. You little folks, I got money stacks bigger than you. When I was pushing weight back in '88, you was a ballerina. I got the picture, I seen you. Then you told G1 switching demeanor. Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
I got a phone call from Illa G, who was at Summer Jam with a bunch of his friends from Brooklyn. "Yo, P, this bitch just tried to play you during his show," G said. "What you mean?" I asked. "Jay-Z, I told you that picture was gonna come back to haunt you one day," G said. "Jay had the picture of you when you was a kid dressed like Michael Jackson up on the screen." I started laughing. It sounded funny as hell. I had to admit, that was a good joke. In the song, Takeover, Jay had a line about me. "You was a ballerina, I got the pictures, I seen you. Drop shook ones, then you changed your demeanor. We don't believe you, you need more people." But anybody who went to my grandmother's dance school has seen a picture of me when I was 8 years old dressed like Michael Jackson. Jay-Z couldn't confront the issue that started our whole drama, so he diverted the people's attention with a joke. The debate was about Jay not being active in the rap beef with Snoop and Tupac, and how he waited years until Tupac and Biggie were murdered to start running his lips about New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feelings. That's the reality that Jay has to deal with when we all get tired of laughing at me in 1982, 8 years old, dressed like Mike. But I did like the tactic that Jay used. It was pretty slick.
Seeing the face of the underground scene, quote-unquote dancing like a ballerina, caught everyone by surprise, since everyone imagined Prodigy's childhood to have been hard and painful. But Jay made it seem like Prodigy was a spoiled suburban kid from a well-off family, who was signed up to take dance lessons like white kids from rich families.
Roc-A-Fella, students of the game, we passed the class and nobody could read you dudes like we do. Don't let them gas you like jiggle those ass and we'll get at you. Trust me on this one, I'll attack you. Mind from spirit, body from soul. You have to hold the mask, put your body in the hole. No, you not on my level, get your break sweet. I sold what your whole album sold in my first week. You guys don't want it with home. H.N.I.C, he don't want it with home.
He says in a rhyme, you was a ballerina. I got the pictures, I seen it. So people go off of perception, you know what I'm saying? So the people that wasn't at their show, automatically they go, oh, Jay-Z had a picture of P with a ballerina, the tutu on. Because that's the way he put out there, you know what I'm saying? But that's not even the reality of it. So he was lying, you know what I'm saying? So you're a liar. You danced around the issue, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't address what P's talking about, you know what I'm saying? So I took that and I was just like, wow, this is a fake, phony ass nigga right here, man. All right, you made people laugh. All right, that's funny. Well, now what you gonna do? Like, all right, now it's back to reality. All right, you going at me? Are you crazy, son? Like, do you know what like? Do you know what kind of person I am? Like, I'll make a personal vendetta the rest of my life to make sure I will expose you to let people know what's real and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
Hot 97 not only blocked Prodigy from going on the radio and dissing Jay-Z, but now they're allowing Jay to do this whole show dissing P, with private and embarrassing pictures of him displayed on all screens. And on top of all that, Mobb Deep wasn't allowed to attend the show. They were blacklisted. Not just by Hot 97, but also by other events and platforms, supposedly due to the violent nature of the infamous mob, Mobb Deep's entourage, as they were always starting fights in the crowd and causing trouble and chaos at clubs. So they made themselves a lot of unnecessary enemies while burning bridges left and right. Jay, on the other hand, was getting treated like the golden child by the hip-hop media. Prodigy even explained it in an online interview a couple months later. He did that thing at the Summer Jam cause he knew that we banned from Summer Jam. We've been banned from Summer Jam for years. He knows we can't go there. We're not allowed to perform at Summer Jam for some reason. I don't know. We banned from Summer Jam for a few years now, and Jay knew that was the perfect place for him to do that. Cause we wasn't going to be nowhere around, and he knew that. That was his retaliation cause I ished on him. But it was nothing. He didn't do anything. All he did was pull out a picture of me when I was a little kid. I don't understand what he did. He didn't do anything. The singer Ashanti was supposedly the one who had the picture. It is said that she gave it to Murda Inc.'s Irv Gotti, who then gave it to Jay. Cause Ashanti used to go to the ballet studio of Prodigy's grandmother when she was a kid. It was basically a dance school, and his grandmother would do concerts every year with her students. Prodigy was one of them. He attended the concerts 3 times, learning ballet and other dances during his time there. The pictures Jay had at the Summer Jam were from 1982, when Prodigy was 8 years old. In the January 2002 issue of The Source magazine, he spoke on the performance and shared his thoughts. People called me like, "Yo, son tried to kill you, done? You got to get back at him, dog." I was pissed, but I laughed at it. Like, F it, he got a good one in. But I'm about to go at dude now and show him it ain't a game. It ain't like Jay-Z did a Dre on me or something, referring to the embarrassing photos of Dr. Dre wearing quote-unquote lipstick and mascara that were posted by Eazy-E during their rap beef in the early 90s. It wasn't like I was a grown-ass man wearing makeup or nothing. A guy was only 6 years old. He say on his record that the photos is from 88, but it's really from 82. I guess he trying to make it seem like I was a teenager or something, running around on some ballet-ish. We did tap, African, breakdancing, and the whole 9. But he trying to make it look like I'm in a tutu on some ballerina-ish. Not only did Jay-Z put up pictures of Prodigy dressed as Michael Jackson, but he also brought the legend Michael Jackson himself on stage. The quote-unquote king of pop and the king of rap on stage together. one of the biggest moments in hip-hop. As if the Takeover performance wasn't enough, it really seemed like Jay was on top of the world and unstoppable. After the performance at the Summer Jam, the beef became official. Prodigy felt the pressure every day. People were making fun of him, asking him if he's going to let Jay get away with it. A couple weeks later in July, Nas and Prodigy decided to respond with freestyles, dissing Jay-Z. It was on the Doo-Wop Street Dreams Volume 1 mixtape. Prodigy sampled a clip from the Summer Jam performance and then rapped on the tip mix of Nas's The World Is Yours.
After Summer Jam, I started going bonkers on Jay-Z with diss songs.
I don't care if you Mobb Deep. I hold triggers to cruise. You little folks, I got money stacks bigger than you.
It's yours, motherfucker. I snatch your grand from under the feet. And you could never win. You could front for the fans, but you never did. No kind of gangster shit, I be where you live. And I tell you 100 miles that you a bitch. The rap verse, I give you balance with the fifth. And my Marcy, the into how you coughing up ribs.
Cough up a lung where I'm from, Marcy, son.
And my Marcy, the into how you coughing up ribs. And my son of villain, I how you stand far from your backyard. The only thing we squash is squad.
Everyone was waiting for the Takeover to be released officially. The Doo-Wop mixtape actually made Jay go back in the studio and complete the song by adding 2 more verses to it, mainly going at Nas. That was around the time when Cormega's album The Realness dropped on July 24th, featuring Prodigy on the song Thun and Kiko. And he once again sent subliminal shots at Jay.
You use a notebook crook. I'm a crook like you. I took like you. I disobeyed the law throughout the book like you. A backseat criminal who passed the heat to somebody that blast the heat. Man, it sound bad on the pad. What happened in the street?
Saying that Jay is only a crook in his rhyme book, an accomplice at best. He may carry guns but lacks the courage to actually shoot anyone.
A villain on the vinyl, an analog outlaw. A lot of gas on your DAC, tape southpaw. You thuggin' when the mic's plugged in.
Basically calling him a studio gangster that only acts tough on records, barking at Prodigy from a safe distance, not having the guts to actually say it to his face. But he's also calling him an actor that plays a role once the mic is plugged in.
You wild on the 2-inch, got your platinum plaques to prove it. Your music's been around the world moving.
This line right here is proof that he's not just talking in general. There weren't too many active rappers that had multiple platinum plaques and were beefing with Prodigy at the time. So this is definitely about Jay-Z. Around that same time, the co-owners of the Source magazine, Dave Mays and Ray Benzino, told Prodigy that the Source Awards 2001 were about to take place in California. Prodigy told Benzino,
"Look, you know this clown Jay-Z is running around fronting like this shit is sweet," I told Benzino. "If y'all want us to perform at the award show, then I need you to hook us up with 30 passes and seats for my boys. I promise we won't hurt Jay inside the venue or ruin your show. I just want to show this clown and everybody else what kind of power Mobb Deep has. Please do this for me." Benzino paused for a moment, then said okay.
This was around the time when rappers started to become so influential and powerful in the game that they could tell media outlets what to do in the middle of rap beefs. Prodigy felt like Jay had full control of Hot 97. That's why he tried to strike back from other platforms, getting in touch with the people who host hip-hop's only award show. Knowing that Jay is nominated for awards, the event took place on August 14th, 2001. Mobb Deep was on stage holding a speech, before letting Eminem and D12 perform the song Purple Pills. Jay and his Roc-A-Fella camp didn't show up, and Prodigy used it as an argument against him, claiming that Jay was scared, showing that Mobb Deep was in control. Backstage at the award show, Prodigy said, "Nobody wants to take it there," and then he also exclaimed, "F Jay-Z." He addressed this incident in an online interview a year later. They didn't show up to the Source Awards. What he did was he took that ish to the Summer Jam, when he knew we wasn't gonna be there. He picked that as his opportunity to try and retaliate at us, cause he knew we wasn't gonna be there. Alright, so if you wanna pull off a stunt like that, why not pull it at the Source Awards where it's gonna be televised? Millions of people will see it. The whole world will see it. That's where you pull that kind of stunt at, not at the Summer Jam. But if you're gonna do it at the Summer Jam, then come to the Source Awards and do it too. Or at least show face at the Source Awards. See? That means Jay-Z is pussy. Them people don't want no kinds of drama with people. They want to do just straight rap music and act like there's beef with people. And that all KRS-One and MC Shan bullish. That ish is bullish to me, man. Cause I'm not playing with dudes, man. Why didn't he pull the same ish at the Source Awards? The Source Awards is bigger, and that's rap music's only awards event. My question is, why didn't he come there to do that? The statement I just made crushes anything he could ever say or do. Cause it's just real like that, man. Why he didn't show up to the Source Awards? That's a subject that needs to be talked about in rap music right now. Why did Jay-Z do all that ish at the Summer Jam, but he didn't show up to the Source Awards? That's a big thing, man. I mean, that's serious. And people need to look at that. A month later, on September 11th, 2001, Jay dropped his album The Blueprint, which starts off with the song The Ruler's Back, on which he had a line dedicated to all the rappers who thought that they finally took Jay's crown.
Your reign on the top was shorter than leprechauns. You can't up with hold what type of extra on. There is no competition, I'm the #1 album of 2000, cause your shit suck. Your reign on the top was shorter than leprechauns. You can't up with hold what type of extra on.
These lines are not only against the rapper DMX, but also against Prodigy, who at the time was dealing with a drug and alcohol addiction, which he himself saw as the reason to why his lyrics became sloppy and lazy over the years. Especially when he started battling Jay, cause in the mid-90s Prodigy was seen as one of the illest lyricists. The drugs and the alcohol boosted his confidence and, according to P himself, made him become arrogant, thinking that he's incapable of dropping a whack verse. Everything he spit he perceived as top tier, and that later came back to haunt him. Cause Jay wasn't playing around, he came with his best. The diss track The Takeover is regarded by many as a top 5 diss track of all time. So you have to respond properly or else you lose.
Takeover, the break's over. God MC, me, Jehovah.
My man Gotti from QB and I was sitting in the truck when a new Jay-Z song called Takeover came on the radio. The beat was hot, so we turned it up and heard Jay-Z dissing Nas and me. I was wondering what was taking Jit Boy so long. I thought, let the games begin.
In verse 2 of The Takeover, Jay went directly at Mobb Deep, calling them out by name.
I don't care if you Mobb Deep, I hold triggers to cruise. You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you.
You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you.
He starts off with a double entendre. He doesn't care if Prodigy is a member of the legendary rap group Mobb Deep, which has solidified its position in the rap game as the group that made East Coast rap gangster. Always credited for their influence, shaking up the rap scene and being seen as the East Coast equivalent to gangster rap on the West Coast. The other meaning of that line, I don't care if you Mobb Deep, is that he doesn't care how big Prodigy's following is. Doesn't care how powerful they are in New York. Jay won't back down from a fight with them, even if it's just one gun versus an entire crew. Cause in Jay's eyes, they're just a bunch of dwarfs, making fun of Mobb Deep's height in the next line.
You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you.
Prodigy was 5'6", 168 centimeters, while Havoc is 5'3", 160 centimeters. Jay, on the other hand, is 6'1½", meaning 187 centimeters. Mobb Deep was the face of New York gangster rap. Their squad was feared as they had connections in the streets. Criminals, drug dealers, shooters, killers, all types of people from the underworld. And Jay was basically trying to destroy their image, disarming them and making them look less threatening. Kinda like how America did after the Second World War, when the US General MacArthur took a picture with the Emperor of Japan, Hirohito, who was almost treated like a god by the Japanese. People would throw away their lives for him. And the picture basically showed people that he's just human, that there's nothing great about him, that he's actually just a defeated little man, not this big, powerful, godlike figure they made him out to be. Same thing with Mobb Deep. Their reputation and image was larger than life, even though they were physically short. And that's usually what rappers try to do in battles. They try to emasculate and belittle you by criticizing things that men are sensitive about, like their height, the money they make, their status, how powerful they are, and so on. Jay is basically criticizing all those points. You're small, I have money stacks bigger than you, I'm richer, more successful, more powerful, and so on.
When I was pushing weight back in 88, you was a ballerina. I got the pictures, I seen you.
This is the infamous knockout line that made a lot of people lose respect for Prodigy, even if people deny it or try to do damage control by saying that it was just baby pictures. Mobb Deep never fully recovered after that line, cause Jay basically made it seem like Prodigy is a fake gangster. Almost like a suburban kid that went to dance school and then later saw the opportunity to capitalize off of rap music by following a trend, trying to act tough on records and pretending to be hard to sell some units, supposedly faking his image and only playing a role. Unlike Jay, who always brags about having sold crack and cocaine in 1988. So he's flipping the script. This whole time, Prodigy called out Jay for being a faker, who changed his image and started to play a role to sell units. And now the tables turn. Prodigy gets exposed for having quote-unquote faked his background, as if he's been projecting this whole time.
Then you drop shook one, switch your demeanor. Well, we don't believe you, you need more people.
Despite growing up as a ballet dancing child, Prodigy made tough guy records like Shook Ones. And the album prior to that, Juvenile Hell in 1993, had a whole different sound. It wasn't as hard and gangster as their sophomore album The Infamous, which was their breakthrough, cause gangster rap was taking over. So it was a smart move to accuse them of changing their style to sell some units, cause that's kinda what happened if you go back and check. They never made use of their style from Juvenile Hell again. The harder they rapped and the grimier they got, the more their following grew and the more they sold.
We don't believe you, you need more people.
Playing again on Mobb Deep's name. Mob not only means a criminal organization, but also a crowd of people. And Deep, in this context, means they have a large number of people in their group or travel in large numbers as a form of intimidation and show of strength. Jay is telling them that they need even more people to be believable. Their mob needs to be deeper.
Don't let them gas you like Jigger is ass and won't clap you. Trust me on this one, I'll detach you.
Playing around with the words ass and clap. Don't let people tell you that Jay-Z is weak and won't shoot back. Implying that all the people thinking that he's an easy target, someone you can just pick on without any consequences, have no idea what they're messing with. You're putting yourself and your career at danger trying to poke a sleeping bear. Don't mistaken his thick skin and him not immediately clapping back at people that poke him for weakness and fear. And try to challenge someone that's out of your weight class.
I'll detach you, mind from spirit, body from soul. They have to hold a mask, put your body in a hole.
Basically calling himself the Grim Reaper of rap, the angel of death that appears when it's time for someone to die. He's using his scythe to separate the body from the soul, before guiding the souls to the afterlife.
No, you're not on my level, get your breaks tweaked. I sold what your whole album sold in my first week.
Continuing with the car theme, since he already said that he was gassed up, telling Prodigy to get his brakes fixed, because he needs to stop before he accidentally crashes and hurts himself. He also makes fun of Prodigy's record sales by comparing numbers to show him that he's not on his level. Jay's last album, The Dynasty, sold over 557,000 copies in the first week, eventually selling over 2.3 million copies and becoming one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of the decade. While Prodigy's solo debut effort H.N.I.C, released 2 weeks after The Dynasty, leveled out after selling about 500,000 copies in total. He ends the verse by saying that they don't really want to get themselves into a full back and forth with Jay, while also claiming that even their homie Nas wouldn't dare to battle him.
You guys don't want it with Ho. H.N.I.C, he don't want it with Ho. No!
After going at Nas in the third verse, Jay then continues to take jabs at Prodigy in the fourth verse, but it's less direct and more metaphorical, saying that he will refrain from arguing with fools, cause people from a distance can't tell who is who, implying that he would look like a fool if he would stoop down to their level and continue going back and forth with them. So he's telling Prodigy to stop acting childish and throwing rocks at his throne, wanting him to leave him alone, instead of dropping entire albums filled with subliminal lines.
Do not buck up that tree will fall on you. I don't know why your advisors ain't forewarned you.
basically saying that if you attack him, it will backfire on you, and you will be the only one in the end that gets hurt, wasting all that energy for nothing. People should have told Prodigy not to mess with him, cause it's pointless.
I don't slack a minute. All that thug rapping and gimmicks, I will end it. All that yapping me finish.
All that street and tough guy talk that Mobb Deep does in their songs will be over with, along with their gangster image, as people will no longer believe them when they talk gangster. And indeed, a lot of people lost respect for them after the release of the song. And they also started saying that Prodigy fell off, that he is not as sharp lyrically as he was in the mid-90s. His partner Havoc actually admitted it in 2012, when he was asked about the impact of the Jay-Z beef. The impact to me was that I just had to step my game up. I was like, if someone's going to be slacking, then I gotta pick up that slack. I saw the difference, but at the time I didn't want to believe it. People kept saying it. From all angles, everyone was coming down on P. But I was holding him down like, nah, son is still good. But I felt like I had to step my game up, because that's a beef that should have never even taken place. Always in my eyes, I always felt like that. But for the greater good, I said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But I am into more forming alliances than to be out here starting beef with people, Havoc said.
You are not deep. You made your bed, now sleep. Don't make me expose you to them folks that don't know you.
You may call your group Mobb Deep, thinking that your mob, your following, is huge, but it's not. You do not have as many people behind you as you think. We don't believe you, you need more people. He's also using the idiom, you made your bed, now lie in it, which means you must accept the negative consequences of your actions because you're responsible for them. Cause Prodigy kept provoking him, hoping for a response, but Jay metaphorically took it even further than just lying in the bed. To not just lie in it, but to sleep. A metaphor for death, eternal sleep. Ending their careers as a consequence of their actions, threatening to expose them even further by showing everyone things they didn't know about them, like Prodigy's past, for example.
I know you well, all the stolen jewels, twinkle toes, you're breaking my heart. You can't fuck with me, go play somewhere, I'm busy.
This line is about both Nas and Prodigy. You would think that it's only about Nas, since on the song Super Ugly, Jay told a story about how Nas got his chain snatched and then had to buy it back. But in this section right here, he's also calling the guy he's talking about Twinkle Toes, which is a reference to the pictures of Prodigy when he was taking dance lessons. And that means that the line about the stolen jewelry could be about Prodigy, cause he actually got robbed for his chain twice. The first time it happened, P got knocked out and robbed for his chain by somebody he knew. It happened on August 15th, 1999, 2 days before Mobb Deep's album Murda Muzik came out, cause they did an album release party at the Tunnel in New York. Outside the club, Prodigy was knocked out by a guy who calls himself Worm. He snuck up on him and sucker punched him, hitting him right in the nose, making him drop to the ground. Prodigy didn't even see who did it. Worm lifted his chain off his neck while Prodigy was knocked out, and he ran back inside his car and escaped. The second chain snatching incident occurred a year later on December 11, 2000, just after midnight when he was done filming his latest music video to the song YBE. He walked to a corner store at 1313 40th Avenue while wearing gold chains and diamonds, when two men, one of them with a gun, approached him and demanded his jewelry. The robbers fled on foot, and the jewelry was worth more than $343,000. Most of it was rented for the video. This incident was actually in the news, so it's not unlikely that Jay heard about it.
And all you other cats throwing shots at Jigga, you only get half a bar. Up y'all again.
Jay continued on the song Heart of the City.
First the fat boys break up, now every day I wake up, somebody got a problem with hoes.
When I openly expressed my opinion of Jay-Z to the world, it opened up the floodgates on him. Suddenly, several different rappers started openly saying the same things about him, from Fat Joe to the Locks and more. Even LL Cool J started firing shots at Jay. Jay has a line in one of his songs that goes, "First the fat boys break up, now every day I wake up, somebody got a problem with Hove." The song is called Ain't No Love or some boy that shit like that.
What's up, y'all get all fed up cause I got a little cheddar and my record's moving out the store.
Let me be clear. Jay-Z makes excellent music. I really liked a lot of his stuff. But this was not about his music, and it had nothing to do with jealousy or envy. This was about the man behind all that, Sean Carter, aka Bozo the Clown. My situation with that dude wasn't a rap battle, it was personal.
More money, more problems, gotta move carefully. Cause you gotta take when you get the money like athlete.
That's real, yo. I ain't exaggerating at all, man. The more money you make, the more problems you get. And jealousy and envy is something that comes with the territory, man.
According to Jay, the only reason why people like Prodigy even came after him was because of his success. The more money he made, the more it bothered his competition. They wouldn't have dissed him if he was broke. And the Notorious B.I.G. basically told him that as advice when Jay asked him about why he's not dissing back Tupac. Cause Pac was lashing out on him on the song Hit 'Em Up. Big told him that if he was broke, Pac would have never had an issue with him. It's only because he's at the top, the king of New York, and that supposedly bothered Tupac. He wanted the hip-hop crown for himself. And now it's the same thing with Jay. Everyone is coming after him, cause he's at the top.
Youngins ice grilling me, oh, you not feeling me fine. It costs you nothing, pay me no mind.
Watch the balls on the grill. I don't round, Dunny, the smoke's real.
Any given time's 100 G's in your grill. Don't talk to me about them C's got skills. He's alright, but he's not real.
Get my thrills putting oven against scales to sleep.
Youngins ice grilling me, oh, you not feeling me fine. It costs you nothing, pay me no mind.
Telling Prodigy that if he doesn't like Jay or has an issue with him, he can simply ignore him. It costs him nothing to pay him no mind. But instead, he drops multiple albums in which he's dissing him, paying for studio sessions to, quote-unquote, throw rocks at his throne.
Look, I'm on my grind, cousin. Ain't got time for frontin'. Sensitive thugs, y'all all need hugs.
Calling Prodigy a sensitive thug for getting offended by his lines on Where I'm From and Money Cash Shows.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme. What's dealings, huh? It's like New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. I'm trying to restore the feeling. Look, I'm on my grind, cousin. Ain't got time for frontin'. Sensitive thugs, y'all all need hugs.
He ends the verse with another clever metaphor, using the word bird, which is another metaphor for girl, talking down on Prodigy by saying that he's feminine, sensitive like a girl.
Bird ass looking, I don't mean to ruffle y'all. I know you waiting in the wing, but I'm doing my thing.
He continues the bird scheme by using the idiom ruffle some feathers, meaning cause someone to be annoyed or upset, and then waiting in the wing, which is another idiom meaning someone is ready and prepared to take action. So the sensitive feminine thug Prodigy gets annoyed by Jay and is patiently waiting for an opportunity to take him down, even though Jay is just minding his own business. That's one way to interpret these lines. And he continues with these metaphors throughout the entirety of the song. What's all the fussin' for? Because I'm grubbing more and I pack heat like the oven door? People pray and pray on my downfall, but every time I hit the ground I bounce back like round ball?
Look, strap, I got nephews to look after. I'm not looking at you dudes, I'm looking past you.
Prodigy kept insisting that Jay was talking about them in his lines on Where I'm From and Money Cash Shows. But Jay is saying that they're not even on his radar. He's not even looking at them. He got his eyes fixated on something that's way beyond them, looking past them while Prodigy thinks he's looking at them. And the only reason why he's taking offense and coming after him is because Jay is the hottest thing in hip-hop right now.
Can I live? I told you 96 that I came to take this ish, and I did.
Well, hold up, I've been doing this since we was kids. And all you up, gotta ask if you could live.
Can I live?
Well, hold up, I've been doing this since we was kids. And all these gotta ask if you could live.
Can I live? I told you 96 that I came to take this ish, and I did.
Then in the third verse, Jay speaks about a certain person that he met before making records. Someone who never disrespected him. But now that he's successful, all of a sudden he became disrespectful.
You knew me before records, you never disrespected me. Now that I'm successful, you pull this shit.
Many people believe that these lines are about his mentor Jaz-O, but the two hadn't even started beefing back then. They were still close. Their relationship only started to crumble in December 2001, when Nas dropped the Jay-Z diss track Ether, and when Jay suspected that Jaz-O gave Nas ammo for the diss track. cause they actually listened to Ether together, and Jaz-O felt uncomfortable when Nas started making it seem like Jay stabbed him in the back. Jay was also on Jaz-O's album, which came out in 2002, and he wanted Jay in the music video for one of his songs, so their beef hadn't started yet, which means that this line is about someone else. Not unlikely that it's either about Nas or Prodigy, cause they knew Jay even before Reasonable Doubt dropped. Prodigy met Jay multiple times at Club Esso in '95, where Jay threw Crystal parties with Biggie. P was cool with Big, and he was also respectful to Biggie's homie Jay. But once Jay started dropping music and became successful, Prodigy started dissing him with every album.
Male shouldn't be jealous, that's a female trait. What you mad cause you push down but he said wait.
Once again calling out Prodigy's quote-unquote jealousy since Jay is more successful. Calling him feminine once again. Mad cause he only makes pocket money compared to what Jay makes.
Written respect the game, that should be it. What you eat don't make me shit.
The Blueprint was a huge success, regarded by many as Jay-Z's best album, aside from Reasonable Doubt. Definitely the best rap album of the year 2001, selling 427,000 units in the first week. A month later, in October 2001, Prodigy and Jay-Z actually came face to face. P had just finished his H.N.I.C promo tour throughout the tri-state area and down the East Coast. He took around 10 to 15 people to Puff Daddy's restaurant Justin's at 31 West 21st Street in Manhattan, which was closed down 6 years later in 2007. Prodigy was drinking champagne and dancing with the female rapper Queen Pen when the DJ made an announcement.
I took a bunch of my boys to Puffy's restaurant, Justin's, on 21st Street in Manhattan, down the block from Soundtrack Studios. The DJ made an announcement. Big shout out to Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri up in the spot. I see y'all. I walked over to my people. Where's Jay-Z? I asked, surveying the shadows of Justin's. I don't see him. So we lined the front door of Justin's on both sides. We weren't gonna let Jay-Z leave without dealing with us first. Yo, P, we gonna beat the lips off Jay's face soon as we see him. Godfather Nitty and Nitty's cousin Kiko all assured me. Kiko had a gun on him and wanted to shoot Jay. No, it's not that serious, I said. We just gonna beat him up. Gonna pull that gun out. Through the crowd, saw Jay and Jermaine walking with 3 bodyguards towards us. Jermaine Dupri was aware of my beef with Jay and visibly shook. Started speed walking with his bodyguards when he saw me. He quickly hightailed it out the door. Jay-Z spotted us lined up at the door waiting for him. Then from about 2 yards away, he extended his hand to shake mine. It ain't no beef, Jay said. It's just music, man, no drama. Oh yeah? I said, shaking his hand. I just wish you would have spoken to me before you said those things about me in the source, he said. But it ain't no beef, all right? Yeah, okay, cool, I said, and let him walk out the club. Keep in mind that I let him walk out. Queen Pen is my witness. I could have changed Jay's future that night, but I chose not to. Jay put the white flag up, and his cop-out made me instantly realize that he wasn't no threat. He's just a big stuffed animal, a camel to be exact. I got serious beef for real gangsters. Jay's just a waste of my time.
Jay told him that it's just music and that there's no beef, even though on the Takeover he said,
Don't let me do it to you, Dunny, cause I overdo it, so you won't confuse it with just rap music.
Prodigy and his people were ready to beat him up. It could have easily escalated to a shooting. Jay was definitely outnumbered and wasn't ready for a confrontation. But they kept it peaceful, shook hands and agreed that it's just music. Nothing more, nothing less. Prodigy just decided to stick to music and solve this issue lyrically, after realizing that Jay's gun bars and threats on the Takeover weren't meant to be taken seriously, according to what Jay said during the confrontation at least. So he went back in the studio with Havoc to record the album Infamy, attempting to protect their legacy and prove their street authenticity, after taking a huge hit by arguably one of the biggest rap stars in hip-hop history. On October 30th, just days after Jay and Prodigy met at Puffy's restaurant, Mobb Deep dropped their first single, The Learning, off the album Infamy, dissing Jay-Z. Havoc had the idea to feature the female rapper Vida on the hook. She had just signed to Irv Gotti and Ja Rule's label Murda Inc., So it was shocking that she agreed to be part of the song on which Prodigy would send shots towards Jay. Cause Jay was cool with the label Murda Inc. and Irv Gotti. Between the years 1995 and 2000, Jay was actually part of the group Murda Inc. together with Ja Rule and DMX. But the group later disbanded after Jay and X started beefing. Prodigy knew that Jay and Irv were still cool. That's actually how Jay got the pictures of Prodigy when he was a kid, the ones he displayed at the Summer Jam. And P wanted payback, using Vida from Irv Gotti's Murda Inc. as a pawn, to create a divide within the two camps Murda Inc. and Roc-A-Fella, killing two birds with one stone, Jay because of the battle and Irv Gotti because of the pictures. And Prodigy didn't like Ja Rule either. Getting one of the allied soldiers of his enemy on the main single of the album while dissing Jay-Z was a huge accomplishment. It really pissed Jay-Z off. The song was leaked to Funkmaster Flex, who played it on Hot 97. And DJs across the country started doing the same. The Takeover wasn't a single and had no video. You had to buy the album to listen to it. Prodigy thought that dissing him on the main single, which gets played on the radio and on MTV, was the perfect way to strike back, since it could potentially reach more people than the Takeover.
This was our first album since that Jay-Z Prodigy beef, so people were waiting to see how we, especially I, would retaliate. They heard me dissing Jay on mix CDs at the Summer Jam, but this was the new Infamous Mobb Deep album, so people wanted to see what was going to happen. We leaked the song to Funkmaster Flex, who played it on Hot 97, and the DJs across the country started doing the same. Mobb Deep was back once again. Jay must have been pissed that radio was playing our diss record, because Vida backed out of the video shoot. Called her and asked her what happened. P, you know I love y'all, and I want to do the video, Vida said. But Jay called Irv and told him not to let me do the video. Irv said I couldn't do it. I'm mad as hell because it would have been good exposure. It's all good, love, I told Vida. Too bad, though. Wow. What was Jay so worried about that he had to tell Irv Gotti, don't let her do that video? Oh well. A thought struck me after I got off the phone with Vida. Oh shit, that's how he got it, I said to myself. When Vida told me that Jay-Z called Irv Gotti like a little girl, it hit me that Ashanti must have showed Irv my grandmother's concert program book with my Michael Jackson picture in it. Irv must have had given it to Jay-Z. Irv Gotti probably didn't even like me because of E-Money bags and didn't let Vida do our video. Two bird-ass bitch boys, Jay-Z and Irv Gotti. I laughed thinking about them plotting with that picture, like they had some information to destroy me or something.
On the song, Prodigy talks to Jay-Z in the second person, meaning directly, using the pronoun you, which is very unorthodox, since it's the lead single to the album, and everything up until the third verse wasn't even about him. Havoc, Big Noid, and Vida were doing something completely different. Now all of a sudden Prodigy is shifting the focus of the song to one person, talking to him directly. Starting off with death threats and insults, saying that he'll have Jay-Z killed, so that they put up his picture at his funeral, similar to how Jay put up the Prodigy Michael Jackson pic at the Summer Jam. But there won't be a casket since they will never find his body.
No casket, it's happy missing. My jewels, my whip, my rims be this.
Jay-Z told me it ain't no beef, it's just music. So I gave Jay some just music to listen to on Burn.
No love, just slugs for your body done. Just pain, just suffering, and worse than that, you let me get my hands on you, so I'm taking advantage.
Mocking Jay by saying that when he hurts him for real, it'll just be bullets hitting his body, and it'll just be agony that he's in. Jay contradicted himself by saying that Prodigy shouldn't confuse the beef with just rap music, implying that it's serious.
So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
Cause later when they actually met, he said the opposite, that it's just music. Notice how Jay kept using the word just music. That's why Prodigy is using the same angle while making fun of him. It's just pain, just suffering.
So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
Just pain, just suffering, and worse than that, you let me get my hands on you when I'm taking advantage. And that shit that you pull ain't do me no damage. You don't know me, but we about to change that shit.
And that's this that you pulled ain't do me no damage. You don't know me, nigga, but we about to change that ish.
These lines are referring to Jay's performance at the Summer Jam. Many people thought that Jay ended Mobb Deep's career with those pictures, but Prodigy states that it didn't affect him, that Jay doesn't know him in real life.
Wrap that again up like a package. Fuck all them again, fuck all them. Yeah.
The fans liked the song a lot, but felt like it wasn't enough. They wanted a full diss track on the level of the Takeover. So they had to go back in the booth and record another one. The pressure on Havoc and Prodigy forced them to rush the album Infamy and release it earlier than planned, cause it was scheduled for a March 2002 release. But they were in the middle of a rap beef with Jay, so backlash, expectations and hype around the beef forced them to release the album the same year as The Blueprint, which had dropped in September, and it was now November. Back then it took weeks for albums to get mixed, mastered and pressed. So they had to finish it within a couple of days if they wanted to release the album in December before Christmas. Mobb Deep was now scheduled to drop on December 11th and Nas on December 18th. Neither of them wanted the year to end with Jay on top. Those time constraints also hindered Jay later on from responding properly to Nas's diss track Ether. He could only drop a half-assed song like Super Ugly before the year was over. And in 2002 nobody cared about responses anymore. Cause on Jay's next album, Blueprint 2, he came back at Nas, but it didn't change the outcome of the battle, cause it was too late. But yeah, that's the reason why Mobb Deep couldn't allow themselves to postpone the diss track to 2002. It would have been way too late, and people would have brushed it off. So the clock was ticking for them. The year was almost over, and the game expected Mobb Deep to respond before New Year. By the end of November, they had finished the album and the diss track. In early December 2001, Prodigy did another freestyle dissing Jay-Z, and they put it on the DJ K-Slay mixtape Renegades 2, The Untouchable, along with the full Jay-Z diss track Crawlin, which was about to be released with the Infamy album. But they leaked it earlier because the streets couldn't wait to hear it.
As far as I'm concerned, it's on sight with you, niggas. And I ain't playing no games, I hope you feel the same. You buck me, that's lovely, you have your day. But when I ride, would you snitch or would you do the same? Okay, let's get it going on. Families mourn, mothers grieve, motherfuckers bleed. Talk about it's just rap music.
Don't let me do it to you, Dunny, cause I overdo it. So you won't confuse it with just rap music.
Talk about it's just rap music. This is blood sport, I run your ass up out of New York. I make it hard for you to party. You best stay up underneath the money cover police thing. You a target. We in the club dancing off of your shit. You in the crib cause you scared to bump heads, and you should be. Come on man, enjoy your success. Don't challenge my strength or poke out your chest. There's no amount of dollars that can keep you safe. There's no turning back now, eat what's on your plate. Don't we humiliate niggas that portray like they dog. We get up on them niggas and hook them right on up with foul shit. Like screwdrivers and shit. Little 2-shot 44 magnums and spit. Bring you right back down to earth. You must have lost touch, you must have lost your mind. Talk about us in your verses. Don't ever speak my name. I'm not a game to be played, we not afraid to be great. They ain't to drop a fear in my little thin frame. All y'all niggas get your puss and scared in my team. Shook on my niggas when we step up on the scene. Cause we don't back down, we step up to the plate. And I ain't gotta sneak you, I bring it to your face. Man, now I'm so not playing, nothing is fake. Yeah, you wanna cook beef for real lives against it's okay. Now you niggas gotta eat what's on your plate.
The album Infamy then officially dropped on December 11th, and people started to realize that Prodigy's pen game wasn't the same. Cause like mentioned earlier, he was dealing with an alcohol and drug addiction. And it also seemed like the beef was taking a toll on him. The creativity was gone, and the album felt rushed. And that was a terrible look, knowing that this whole time, Prodigy was telling everybody that sales don't matter, and that it's all about skills, lyrics and the quality of the music. Now Jay dropped a classic album with a super lyrical diss track, showing him what he's capable of. And now everyone is expecting Prodigy to back up his claims, show him that he's more skilled like he claimed. But he failed. Jay's song was way more lyrical, so even in that aspect P was inferior. Jay was the one proving Prodigy wrong, not the other way around. And it backfired for P, because all his claims ended up being nothing more than empty, braggadocious lines about his skills, which weren't enough to compete with the enemy.
I must admit, My lyrics had become a little lazy and sloppy. I was messing up spiritually and health-wise, back on drugs and alcohol. My decision-making was terrible, and it was evident in my music. My mind, body, and soul were clouded and polluted. People who paid close attention to my lyrics were saying, "You're slipping, you're not rapping the same." And I thought they were crazy. I was arrogant, acting as if whatever I wrote to the beat was hot. I was feeling myself, or playing myself rather. But I couldn't see it at that time. Even though I put my all into making good songs, my negative behavior was showing up in the form of lyrics that didn't grab people as tightly as they once did. My grip was slipping.
Some people claim that the beef with Jay got to his head, to the point where he couldn't even rap like he used to. Cause up until this point, he was always lyrical. Now all of a sudden, all he can do is throw out basic insults and death threats. Nothing that's on par with what he said about Jay on his previous albums. The majority of the disses on the album consists of sloppily written threats and rhymes about killing people. Like on the song Clap, for example.
Y'all better protect that bar, murder that kid. You got jokes, but ain't nobody over here laughing. All you get is standing ovation with Mac-10.
These lines are indirect. Some people interpret them as jabs against Jay. Like when he said that people are protected by cops and scared to go to war, adding that he'll catch them at the Source Awards, which Prodigy tried to do in August 2001, but Jay wasn't there.
You can be running with cops, scared to go to war with some real rap niggas. Catch you at the Source Awards and getting at this against part of my force.
The main diss song on the album is track number 14, Crawlin, featuring both Havoc and Prodigy.
Keep it moving, better keep walking. The nine I have them crawling.
Havoc had always stayed out of the beef, and even in the song you can tell that he's not really trying to get involved, as if Jay-Z didn't diss him as well. The least he did was damage their brand. It wouldn't have made much sense for Havoc to not be a part of the song, since people would have accused him of leaving his partner Prodigy in the dust. So he had to be on it, to not give his enemies and critics more angles to take aim at the crew, cause there were already rumors about the group wanting to break up and Prodigy wanting to go solo. But looking at the diss track, you could tell that Havoc's heart wasn't in it. He didn't have a single direct line against Jay, rapping about something completely different. You can't even tell if any of this is supposed to go at Jay, as if these lyrics belong on a completely different track, watering down and reducing the quality of the overall diss track, since half of the lines don't even seem to be aimed at the target of this track. They could have been on any other Mobb Deep song, and nobody would have ever guessed that they were part of a Jay-Z diss track. You have to get all the way to verse 2 to realize that the song is about someone specific, cause that's when Prodigy takes over.
Pump mom, female ass against the homo rapper. H to the you know.
Once again calling Jay feminine. A sucker who acts like a woman. Every time he raps about a dick blower or someone that acts feminine, he's talking about Jay.
I set it off on your ass, don't forget that. And your retaliation was weak, baby picture.
Prodigy indeed set it off on him, both physically, like when he approached him at Puff Daddy's restaurant, and also lyrically, cause this is now the third album he's going at him. He's also calling the move Jay pulled at the Summer Jam, where he put up the pictures of him when he was a kid, weak, downplaying the damage it caused as if it didn't bother him. He said the same thing on the song The Learning.
And that's this that you pulled ain't do me no damage. You don't know me, nigga, but we about to change that. I set it off on your ass, don't forget that. And your retaliation was weak, baby picture.
Prodigy repeatedly tried to do damage control by dismissing the fact that almost the entire hip-hop game, including media outlets and fans, are convinced that the stunt Jay pulled at the Summer Jam combined with the Takeover as a top 5 diss track of all time was a devastating blow to Mobb Deep's reputation and image in the public eye, which you can't just dismiss by ignoring the opinion of the general public, pretending that your beliefs and feelings reflect the objective truth. Because at the end of the day, the damages caused in terms of reputational damage are measured not by Prodigy himself, but by the reaction of the audience. And the overwhelming majority felt like he got destroyed. So end of story.
And a lot of people said, Infamy wasn't all that because P was concentrating on Jay-Z too much, or whatever they want to say. But I don't listen to none of that because people's perceptions are stuck because he put it out there like that, something that it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't even look at it like that. I just think people's perception was fucked up because Jay-Z fucked him up. You know what I'm saying? So he caused a lot of hatred. And that's what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? He tried to turn the people against Prodigy. You know what I'm saying?
Only damages you can try to argue about are in terms of how it affected your career and emotional damages in general. Career-wise, it was clearly going downhill for them, with most critics leaving mixed to negative reviews on every album after Murda Muzik and H.N.I.C. The fans noticed a decline in terms of the quality of the music as well. Producers, DJs, media outlets, and people in the industry started to turn their backs on them, to the point where they felt like they were getting blackballed. And that's what Mobb Deep confirmed years later. People refused to collaborate with them, fearing that they'll hurt their business collaborating with the enemy of Jay-Z. They didn't want to make themselves unnecessary enemies. Mobb Deep even had problems with their record deals. That's why they tried to go independent after this album. And even if we're talking about emotional damages, you could tell that Prodigy himself was bothered by it, since he's not been rapping the same ever since the Takeover dropped. It got to his head. Gone were the days of Prodigy dropping the hardest verses, and he wasn't really able to strike back lyrically with the same level of punchlines that Jay hit him with. Only thing he did was deny that there was any damage. Combine that with insults and threats, and the fact that Jay did not show up to the Source Awards after publicly dissing him at the Summer Jam.
How you not gonna show face after that stunt and rap's only awards and you ain't show up?
Prodigy is saying that Jay didn't go to the awards because he was too scared of running into him. Backstage at the award show, Prodigy said, "Nobody wants to take it there. F Jay-Z."
You scared in your butt, you are now being crushed by these black mob gangsters, you get it done.
In verse 4, Prodigy claims that Jay was raised off their music, that he's basically one of their students, giving birth to his style, like he previously said on multiple songs. And again, he felt that way because of how he all of a sudden had the hood behind him in all of his music videos, just like Mobb Deep.
Y'all some hoe ass and I slap days out you was raised off our this we made rappers. I gave birth to your whole style and fail. How do it feel to hold my in public? Duplicate rap cloner.
Then he once again addressed the Summer Jam incident where Jay compared Prodigy's past to his, saying that in '88, P was a ballerina, while Jay was selling drugs.
When I was pushing weight back in '88, you was a ballerina. I got the pictures, I seen you.
88, is you crazy? That's when I was off in Sophie and you was pumping for poison.
Addressing the false depiction of Prodigy as a ballerina in '88, during the Summer Jam performance where they had pictures of Prodigy saying Prodigy of Mobb Deep in 1988. But that was false. The pictures were from way earlier. According to Prodigy, they were taken in 1982. But Jay made it seem like they were taken when he was a teenager, which is false. So his biggest punchline was technically a lie. But most people didn't care when the picture was taken, because it destroyed the image they had of him. It made him look like a suburban kid from a well-off family, not like a kid who grew up in poverty and in the streets. Prodigy counteracted this by referring to when Jay made his first appearance in a music video with his mentor Jaz-O, on the song Hawaii and Sophie, which came out in 1989, saying that Jay was looking soft and non-threatening, even though he claimed to be the serious drug dealer and street cat who sold a lot of drugs in '88.
Kill a dame with a spit in your face. Illa G been told me about that Doja Boy Jay.
And that was basically it. Prodigy didn't really put any more effort into the beef, especially after hearing Nas' Jay-Z diss track Ether, which dropped a week later. He felt like that song absolutely destroyed Jay-Z, saying that he couldn't have done it better, and that there was nothing more to say after that. That Nas basically took him out for him, and that he never could have made a diss track like Ether.
When he dropped Ether, I was like, oh, I'm full back. Anyway, I could have never made a song like that, son. Wow, that was crazy, son. That was meant to be. That was supposed to be like that, Jay-Z and Nas. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'll tell you the truth, I couldn't have wrote that song. You know what I'm saying? Only Nas could come with some bitch like that. That was ill. You know what I mean? Word, that was ill. So I wasn't even mad. I was like, fuck it, I fall back. I'm not fighting over who gonna be beefing. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it.
So he let it go. But the rap game felt like P didn't do enough and saw Jay as the victor. A lot of people hated on the Infamy album, saying that Mobb Deep is soft now, since they started making love songs to hit the mainstream and grow their audience, even though they were only loved for hardcore gangster grimy rap music. They chose to go that route cause Prodigy was surprised and at the same time disappointed by the rap game for picking Jay-Z's side, even though according to P, he wasn't real. So he was annoyed when he saw how the streets favored Jay, even though Prodigy had been making real underground hardcore rap anthems for the streets for more than half a decade now, while Jay was making songs for the radio and the ladies. He understood that he couldn't rely on the underground alone. The same people who claimed to be quote-unquote real gutter grimy hip-hop fans that had Mobb Deep's back no matter what, somehow still supported Jay. How is that even possible? He felt betrayed, cause Prodigy thought that he had the streets behind him. But even the hip-hop bible The Source was basically declaring Jay as the victor, while adding that Mobb Deep might be over with. Prodigy then understood the importance of record sales, airplay, and songs that are popular among a wider audience. So they started making music for a different demographic, which happened to piss off a lot of day one Mobb Deep fans. The song Hey Love, for example, which ended up becoming a single with a music video.
We were kissing in the video, and when it came out, people were saying, "Oh shit, P turned to a sucker for love. He kissing some chick in his new video." Nah. Sorry, that's my woman for real. People were saying, Mobb Deep is soft now. They doing radio love songs. But Hey Love is far from soft. It got more radio spins than Quiet Storm and gave us a gang of new female fans. We loved it. The ladies would be lined up in the front row, and I'd find the best looking one and spit my verse looking her straight in her eyes. So despite Jay-Z and his fans' attempt to make us look as if we lost the battle with them, Infamy sold over 800,000 copies, proving that our power and position hadn't changed.
For Mobb Deep's hardcore grimy hip-hop fans, the album wasn't hard enough, and for people who like more commercial poppy-sounding rap music, it wasn't good enough either. Up until this point, Mobb Deep was still making better music than Jay. They started competing in 1999. Murda Muzik was a better album than Volume 3. And then in the year 2000, Prodigy's H.N.I.C competed with the Dynasty. H.N.I.C was once again sonically superior, although Mobb Deep never really sold anywhere near what Jay sold with his albums. 2001 marked a turning point. The Blueprint was leagues ahead of the Infamy album, both sonically and commercially, and the Blueprint ended up becoming a classic. Most people also consider the Takeover as a far better diss track than Crawlin and The Learning combined.
A lot of people thought Jay-Z ruined my and Mobb Deep's career, but there's no evidence of that. We were still in our own position of power, as was Jay. Jay just made it look better because he had so much money from Roc-A-Fella Records, and he was selling more albums than us. But we weren't selling any less than our past albums.
Jay-Z and Mobb Deep then tried to avoid each other for the next couple of years. There was no reason to add any more fuel to the fire. Everyone did their own thing. Prodigy and Havoc actually got into a little bit of an argument, cause P felt like Columbia and Loud Records were treating them like slaves, making them earn only 90 cents per album sold, arguing that they could go independent and earn $4 to $5 per album. But Havoc felt like they would sell less when they're independent as when they're on a major label, since they'd had to promote the albums all by themselves, and Havoc didn't want to do that. All he wanted to do is make music. Jay, on the other hand, was still on top of the world. He was working on his next album, The Blueprint 2, trying to undo some of the damage that Nas did when he dropped Ether, responding to him on the album while leaving Prodigy alone, because he felt like he had already buried him. In August 2002, Jay spoke to Angie Martinez about Prodigy, without trying to rehash the beef, wanting to leave it in the past.
You did put Prodigy on the screen.
Yeah, he deserved that though.
Why?
Yeah, man, like, you know, he was going too far with it. Like, I let
With
the
the
Sauce
article?
thing go, and he just kept going. He started making records, and he was on it, you know, he was on mixtapes, and he was like talking harsh, like, oh, fuck. So it was either that or just try to beat him up or something, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was the easy way out.
Any interaction?
And for real, I don't have, that's done with. He fell back, cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to even bring him up, bring his name, or try to disrespect him in no way. You ask me a question, I answer. You know what I'm saying? So, everything is cool.
Okay, good. No rehashing any of this.
Yeah, let's leave Prodigy alone.
I would like to move forward with a lot of this stuff.
The beef then cooled down and both sides focused on their careers. Jay dropped The Blueprint 2 on November 12, 2002. And then a year later, on November 14th, 2003, he released the Black Album, announcing his retirement. That following year, Mobb Deep released their fifth album, America's Nightmare, on August 10th, 2004, after a 3-year break. In June 2005, Mobb Deep was then signed to 50 Cent's label G-Unit, even though on the song Piggy Bank, 50 Cent dissed them, because Havoc appeared in the music video for the song New York of 50 Cent's rival Ja Rule in 2004. He dissed them by saying that Jay-Z destroyed them during their battle. Mobb Deep and 50 had been cool for years, so they not only settled their differences but also did business together, which was a great opportunity for them. Cause 50 was the hardest rapper out at the time, selling 1 million albums first week, twice as much as Jay. 50 and Jay were also beefing and competing at the time, so Jay might have took it as his enemies joining forces. Cause that same year he decided to sign the rapper Tru Life to Roc-A-Fella, a man who was beefing with Mobb Deep at the time. In the year 2000, Tru Life and his people pulled up to the studio where DJ Muggs, Jizza and Mobb Deep's clique The Infamous Mob were recording, because P basically scammed him. Made him pay money for a verse that he would later end up reusing on the Any Given Sunday soundtrack, legally preventing Tru Life from releasing his track with Prodigy's verse on it, even though he had already paid him. Prodigy didn't return his calls either, so Tru Life and his people pulled up to the studio to teach him a lesson, but he wasn't there. Only people that were there was the clique The Infamous Mob, who got pistol whipped, stripped naked and robbed. They even let off shots, missing them by inches. That's what they also wanted to do to Prodigy and Havoc, but they weren't working on DJ Muggs' album at the time. It was only The Infamous Mob working on the song We Will Survive off the album Soul Assassins 2. And after that, both sides knew that if they ever come face to face, it will come to a shooting. Now all of a sudden, right when Jay's enemy 50 Cent signs Mobb Deep, Jay decides to sign Mobb Deep's enemy Tru Life, probably to intimidate them, because Tru Life's people were ruthless. People liked to have them around as security, reckless street cats who do the dirty work behind the scenes. So Jay was preparing for a confrontation. If 50 and Mobb Deep decided to come to the same events as Jay, Jay would be protected by street cats who are ready to throw their life away. But Jay wasn't even on Mobb Deep's radar anymore. They wanted to expand and finally drop albums that go multi-platinum. On May 2nd, 2006, they then dropped the album Blood Money, which contains 2 successful club bangers with 50 Cent, called Have a Party and Outta Control. Jay made his own comeback that same year with his album Kingdom Come, which only received lukewarm reviews. It seemed like Mobb Deep had a bright future ahead of them, now that they're signed to 50's successful label, which had direct control over their artistic output. Cause Jay had connections to other labels and could blackball people, using his status and influence in the game, being able to convince labels and people working for them to shorten people's budgets and to not work with them. He couldn't do that with 50's label.
You thought something sweet, believe Jay if you want. Your head believe Nas or whoever you choose. You come on over here and you gon' see the truth.
Cause they liars. They liars. Like Jay said I had a tutu on. Where's the picture of the tutu? I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's lying to the people to make their perception of me, to change their perception of me. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of shit that he brings to the table. He makes it obvious who he is, you know what I mean? And where he stand for and what he represent. Because he knows the truth, and he know what I'm talking about over there on Bushwick Avenue, you know what I'm saying? He know the truth over there on Hart Street, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Him and Jazzo.
In 2008, Prodigy went to prison for weapons possession, serving 3 out of 3.5 years. And that basically pulled the brakes on them. ruining their chances of being one of the rap heavyweights in the mainstream. While in prison, Prodigy wrote a letter talking about Jay-Z and him being part of the Illuminati, statements he retracted years later. In 1996, Prodigy read a book learning about the pseudo-Islamic black nationalist cult of Dwight York, the Nubian Nation, which Jay-Z and his mentor Jaz-O were part of in the late 80s and 90s. The leader Dwight York used this cult to get sexual access to many women and children of his followers. He was charged with more than 100 counts of molesting dozens of children, some as young as 4 years old. He was sentenced to 135 years for abuse of children, racketeering, conspiracy, and tax fraud. Prodigy was fully convinced that Dwight York was set up by his son Jacob York and the Illuminati, that all the allegations were made up to keep him under control, all for quote-unquote speaking the truth. He was also convinced that Jay-Z knew the truth but chose to side with the evil, the Illuminati. So yeah, Prodigy lost his mind in prison and called himself one of the only 2 people in the rap game to know that the cult leader is quote-unquote innocent. Despite all his old supporters pressing charges on him, the other person believing in his innocence was Afrika Bambaataa, who ironically also got hit with similar accusations as Dwight York. The letter is titled "My First Moment of Clarity," similar to Jay's song on the Black album Moment of Clarity. The exact moment in time when I discovered that the entire planet was being lied to and was put under a spell to keep us unaware of it was back in 1996, around the time Biggie got locked up for the Tech 9 in his house. Biggie was in the newspaper that day, with handcuffs on, being led by 2 or 3 cops. He had on a sweater with a big letter B on the front. It was on that day I was reading one of Dr. Malachi Z. York's books, can't remember which one. I believe it was titled Leviathan 666. I finished the book and started crying. I was crying for all of humanity, but mostly for my black people, cause I then realized that it was all a sham. The government, religions, politics, the Federal Reserve, IRS, and everything that we believe and live by is a joke. This one book didn't make me see it all. No. It was the combination of other things I've read, studied, seen, and experienced. Leviathan 666 just helped connect all of the dots to make me see it's all real. Dr. York has since been set up by the FBI and Illuminati players, and is now serving 135 years in a federal prison. His own son, Jacob York, who was deep into the rap business back in '96, orchestrated the entire setup. Afrika Bambaataa and Prodigy are the only 2 famous rappers who speak for Dr. York and know he's innocent. Jay-Z and Jaz-O were both raised in their teenage years in Dr. York's Nubian community in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Look at the Jaz-O Originators video, and you will see them holding up Dr. York's pictures, wearing his garb and flashing his symbols. Jay-Z knows the truth, but he chose sides with evil in order to be accepted in the corporate world. This right here is very similar to what he said on the song Genesis off the album H.N.I.C. in the year 2000, which many people speculated was subliminally dissing Jay-Z. He actually re-released the song with a newly made music video when he came out of prison.
I'm being watched by snake eyes, peep them sheds skin plenty times, surrounded by crash dummies and empty minds. Get this together done, see between the lines, stay awoke to the ways of the wickedest kind.
Jay-Z conceals the truth from the black community, and the world promotes lifestyle of the beast instead. I am revealing some astonishing information if people will just do a little research and see. Prodigy, Dr. York, and Afrika Bambaataa are the truth. Jay-Z is a goddamn lie.
The positive and negative war has now begun. P helps you separate both the sides. Let the truth arise. Black devil don't hide.
I have so much fire in my heart that I will relentlessly attack Jay-Z, Illuminati, and every other evil that exists until my lights are put out, which is damn near impossible cause my power in these streets is incredible.
Black devil don't hide. You can't hide from me. You might from the others. I've been employed to pull your ass out from the covers.
I fear nothing and no one. I'm fearless cause the truth has set me free from the Illuminati mental enslavement. And I have been empowered by God and the universe to bury these cockroaches.
I've been employed to pull your ass out from the covers. You walk like you got hooves and talk like you're supposed to. Tricking my brothers into following you.
So that was my moment of clarity. 1996 in Laurelton, Queens, New York. I have gone through serious spiritual wars with the evil energy that once existed in my body. It took me from 1996 to 2008 to defeat the negativity that held my soul hostage all these years. Some people do it quicker, some never, and some have no negativity at all. They are special. This negativity I speak of is an actual living entity that uses us as food. We must sever our ties with it in order to see things for what they really are. This negative energy is created and harnessed by the Illuminati secret government, and they will make you spread this energy without you even knowing it.
Tricking my brothers into following you. Yo, potential energy is easily made kinetic. I turn them all back where they belong, don't wet it.
But people like Jay-Z are very well aware. He was schooled by Dr. York. So if you're aware and still spread it, what does that make you? Who and what do you represent? I'm not saying these bad things about Jay-Z because we had a rap beef. F no. This has nothing to do with our rap beef. But it does connect in a way. Jay-Z is not the only aware rapper that sided with evil, but he's the most influential. And then he ends the letter by promoting his next solo album H.N.I.C. 2. On September 2nd, 2008, Young Jeezy's fifth studio album, The Recession, came out and featured an iTunes exclusive bonus track called Put On Remix, on which Jay-Z is featured, taking shots at Prodigy while he's in prison.
I put Mike Jack on stage at Summer Jam, Billie Jean. I put Prodigy in his place on that Summer Jam screen.
Referring to the incident at the Summer Jam in 2001, where he put up pictures on screen of Prodigy in a Michael Jackson outfit when he was a kid. He's also referencing Mobb Deep's song Put 'Em in Their Place, which was on the album Blood Money.
We put 'em in their place, infamous up in it. You know how we get down. It's that your girl, she feeling our style.
A year later, on September 8th, 2009, Jay then dropped his 11th studio album The Blueprint 3, featuring a song called A Star Is Born, once again throwing jabs at Prodigy from Mobb Deep.
Mobb Deep shook it, but Prodigy took it a little too far. Can't up with Brooklyn.
Referencing the song Shook Once while rubbing it in his face that Brooklyn came out on top against Queens. Cause one of the reasons why Prodigy was so mad was the line in Where I'm From about Mobb Deep rapping about Jay-Z's neighborhood in every verse in their rhyme, and Prodigy tried to throw it back at him saying that it's the other way around. It became a Queens versus Brooklyn rivalry.
I'm from where the hammers rung, news cameras never come. You and your man's hung in every verse in your rhyme.
Your projects is on out there, you need to quit and let us rap that for them. Your raps ain't
Mobb Deep shook it, but Prodigy took it a little too far. Can't up with Brooklyn.
And with Prodigy took it too far, Jay was saying that he shouldn't have ever made the decision to start dissing him from Murda Muzik onwards. And he also took it a little too far by threatening him with physical violence when they met at Puff Daddy's restaurant. 2 years later, in 2011, the two actually made peace by speaking positively about each other in interviews. Jay called him one of the greatest rappers during a certain period of time, and Prodigy, who had just came out of prison, showed him love and respect for that.
You did Prodigy pretty dirty, as we all remember at Summer Jam and on Takeover. Do you still listen to the Infamous? Like, I feel like Mobb Deep, since you buried them, has sometimes, because you're so influential, have gotten overlooked when I truly think they're, one of the great rap groups.
I think they're fantastic.
And do you ever still listen?
Yeah. I think they're great. I think Prodigy at one time was, one of the best rappers in the game. I don't know about ever, but I mean, in the game, at one point, he was up there. He was close to being the best rapper. For a period of time, he was close to being the best rapper in the game.
Yeah.
And what do you think what he said about you, that you could have possibly been the greatest hip-hop artist of all time?
I think the possible part is a little jab, you know what I mean? But yeah. I took that as a compliment when he said that, actually, you know what I mean? I agree with the little jab, because, I would have did the same thing. I'd have punched him in his ribs and gave him a hug at the same time also, you know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what that was. He punched me in my ribs and hugged me, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's cool, man. I took it as a compliment. The thing that me and Jay-Z went through, it was a little, discrepancies and some things that he said that I didn't like about the whole East Coast, West Coast drama. That's where that comes from. Jay-Z has said some things about it. And I just felt I didn't agree with it because he really wasn't around at that time when it happened. We were the ones that had our lives on the line. We were risking our life, you know what I mean? We were still doing shows in California after people got killed, you know what I mean? And we were involved with that whole drama. Like, we damn near started that beef, you know what I mean? So I just felt like our life was on the line, you know, and we risked our life for what we believed in, you know what I mean? And for him to come out later on, after everything died down, after everything was over, and for him to say, you know, New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings, which is a line from one of his records. I just felt, I took offense to that, you know. I took like, what are you talking about? Where was you at when all that went down? You know what I mean? Like, so that's how it started, you know what I mean? And really it's nothing, you know, it was really nothing, but I felt like I had to say something about that, you know, and it just escalated from there. But, you know, after the whole drama with us, me and Jay-Z actually spoke about it, and he was like, yo, listen, man, there's no beef, there's no drama, let's just keep it just music. It's a little music battle, like, you know what I'm saying? A little music rivalry. So I said, no doubt, it's nothing, man, let's do that, and we shook hands, you know what I'm saying?
Fast forward to January 20th, 2017. Prodigy sampled a Jay-Z line from the song Dear Summer for the chorus on the song No Religion.
Non-Pulp Fiction, coke for fifth and young that blasphemy, no religion. Young that blasphemy, no religion.
And it's dope how it connects to the evils and connects to Illuminati.
Nah, that was like a straight shout out. Like, I love Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? Even though we went through our little bullshit, whatever, that's...
Brotherhood of Elite Rappers.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
A couple months later, on June 20th, 2017, Mobb Deep's Prodigy passed away at the age of 42, after supposedly choking on an egg at the hospital while being treated for sickle cell anemia. And 2 months later, on August 26, 2017, Jay-Z did an interview with Rap Radar speaking on Prodigy's passing, showing him respect while saying that he doesn't want any more rap beefs at this point in his career.
I don't want to have rap beef in 2017.
Someone you had rap beef with in the past, Prodigy recently passed away. Like, how did that impact you?
Yeah, you know, I feel like, man, a lot of us, you know, a lot of Sean P and Cap and all this like dying. Like, we have to really like pay attention. You know, he obviously had a sickness that was no control over what was happening with him. But we have to take care of ourselves. We really do. We have to focus on that. These guys are dying young.
Jay added that he was a fan of Prodigy for a long time. That's why he sampled him on his debut album Reasonable Doubt. And he wouldn't have even battled him if he wasn't such an incredible MC. He always kept an eye on him. And that's why he also caught all the subliminal jabs on Prodigy's albums.
I mean, I have super respect for Prodigy. You know, in order for me to really have a problem, in order for me to spar with you, like really spar, I gotta respect you somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I gotta respect you. You know what I'm saying? I respect his. I sampled him for my first album, so you know I was aware of him and had a respect for him.
Jay also read all of Prodigy's interviews in magazines. He wouldn't have done that for someone you don't admire. He also added that the two actually met at a club face to face in 2012, squashing their beef officially before he passed.
And we spoke. Me and him spoke before he passed.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I saw him in the club, like, I want to say, maybe 5 years ago or something like that. And he just came over and we was just like, we kicked it. And, you know, again, it wasn't about nothing. And, yeah, just sad, you know, blessings to his family and, you know, sad. Young man, you know.
At the end of the day, the feud between Jay-Z and Mobb Deep wasn't just about two artists trading shots. It was about the battle for New York hip-hop's crown during one of the most competitive eras in rap history. While Jay-Z went on to become one of the biggest names in music and business, Mobb Deep remained legends in their own right, changing hip-hop forever. The impact of the clash is still felt whenever we talk about classic hip-hop beefs, even though the feud cooled down over 20 years ago. So who do you think won the battle? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.